Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Popcorn Podcast with myself, Jack Logan, and my good friend Fergus Clark. Fergus looks absolutely fuming.
What? Huh? Oh, hello, Jack.
How are you doing, Fergus?
Yeah, I'm alright. How are you? How are you, my friend?
I'm pretty good. You looked a bit raging there. Are you okay?
Yeah. No, I was just thinking about some of the hate that I received recently
Oh,
about my
what
appearance on the
hate?
podcast. Well, there was some kind of troll, online troll viciously bullying me about my iconic red shirt that I've been
I
wearing.
oh yeah
Yeah. So I'm wearing it today in solidarity with myself. To
yeah.
combat the online critics.
I'm assuming you're talking about Courtney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was with my friend Courtney and Ryan and Jamie and Sophie, all my friends, and Courtney, who has watched every episode of the Popcorn podcast. To be fair to
The
her,
only person.
the only human being to do so, um, she commented that Fergus always wears the same red shirt.
It's iconic. It's part of me,
Sure,
and
yeah,
it really upset me. It's been haunting me ever since I got that hateful message sent my
yeah.
way.
Yeah, and then
Mm.
and then Jamie didn't say hello to you. I asked
Yeah,
Jamie to say hello to him in a
I
video message,
fucking
and
hate Jamie. What a cunt.
he, sh-
Sorry, sorry.
he shook his head.
Yeah,
It
I
was,
know. I was really taken aback at like how rude that was.
yeah. So, are you okay, Fergus? I hope you've not taken it to heart. I don't think she meant it.
Well, I'm over it now. You know, I'm
Yeah,
wearing the shirt. It's a bit warm for it, but I'm just wearing it in support of myself.
sure, sure.
Mm.
So, Fergus, what have you been watching this week?
This week, I've watched. Jack, I don't know if you pay attention to the news at all.
Mm.
Um, but recently it was the 80th anniversary of D-Day. It's weird to say anniversary, isn't it, for D-Day?
Yeah,
But makes it
yeah.
sound like a kind of party
Celebration.
almost. Yeah. But
It's
yeah,
the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened recently. Not
Yep.
everyone was aware of this, including our prime minister. But you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. I
so
read about that in the news.
so my mum wanted to watch Saving Private Ryan, probably the biggest D-Day movie.
Yeah, it's a great film, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It made me kind of regret choosing Tom Cruise last week over Tom Hanks.
Yeah, he's brilliant in that film.
Hmm.
Absolutely brilliant. And I think Matt Damon's really good in that movie.
Matt
For the
Damon.
Matt Damon
Matt
for the
Damon.
for the little time he's in the film, because he isn't in
Mm,
it for that much. He's really good, I think.
yeah, I feel like well, kind of spoilers for a film, but I kind of spoiled it for my mum that he was going to survive to the end because at the start I was
Mm.
like, oh wow, that looks like Matt Damon in old person makeup, and then
Oh yeah,
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 I didn't mean to be fair. I thought he was going to be in the whole thing, but yeah.
yeah. So you enjoyed it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, very good. Again, also makes me regret getting rid of Spielberg last week. I completely forgot he'd done that.
Who's Spielberg?
Yeah, I mean, for those who aren't aware, I accidentally got rid of Steven Spielberg, just
Yeah.
eliminated him from existence last week,
Yes, you
thanks
did,
to World
Fergus.
Wipe Whiz Machine 3000 2.0.
Got the name perfect, Fergus.
Mhm,
Well
mhm.
done.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, it's been a while since I've watched Saving Private Ryan. I've got
yeah,
the 4K cut in the collection, and I've not watched it yet. But I think it'll look like incredible on
yeah,
4K.
probably,
It's such a cinematic movie.
for sure. Everyone talks about the opening, like, 20 minutes during
Yeah.
the D-Day sequence.
Yep.
When you mentioned Saving Private Ryan, which is the only bit I'd seen before, like, the other day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we were showing it in our S2 history class,
Ah, okay. Sure.
which was a weird choice after the Roots incident, but yeah.
um. Yeah. It's a great film. I've not seen it in years. I need to give it a rewatch.
Mm,
But I remember it being like a really powerful movie.
yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's a bit like almost a bit like patriotic at points, like
Mm,
America, fuck yeah, kind of thing.
yeah,
But
it's
you know,
America.
yeah, yeah, it's a bit like that at points. But aside from that, it is really pretty
Yeah,
powerful, pretty like gruesome as well. Like you wouldn't
yeah,
expect it to be honest.
yeah.
I think a lot
Um,
of war films don't kind of capture that.
yep. It's and Spielberg. His direction's just insane in that movie. He's so good.
Mhm.
Like the film's just beautifully shot. Like it's
Yeah. The
especially
opening
the opening,
so
especially
like
the first minute.
chaotic. You can't like focus
Yeah,
on anything.
yeah, just like I'm sure there's like body parts just like flying about the
Yeah,
place, and yeah, it's impactful opening to a movie.
for sure, for sure. Yeah.
In terms of what I've watched, I briefly said before we started the podcast to Fergus that I've only watched one film since
Hmm.
last week, and that was Predators, which I've reviewed in the channel. So,
I watched a
I'm,
video.
I'm not gonna give. Thank you, Fergus. I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna watch. I'm not going to give any of my opinions. Go watch my Predators review to see what I think.
On the same channel.
Um,
Just go
on the
down
same
below
channel.
after this is finished.
Yes, obviously,
Of
obviously.
course.
Yeah. But I'll briefly touch on it. If you
Hmm.
want in-depth thoughts, go watch the video. But I liked it more than the first Predator film.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, not by much, not by much. But I did. They're kind of on the same level. There was one reason
Hmm.
why I put Predators above Predator, and that was just how much I liked the characters in Predators.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much more, not likable, but like you connect a lot more with them.
Hmm.
In the first Predator film, I couldn't tell you a single character's name.
No, yeah, I mean that is true. The Predator.
Oh yeah, obviously the Predator, but like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl
Yeah,
Weathers,
Carl
like
Weathers.
I
I
couldn't tell you
was
their actual character names.
I was watching Arrested Development the other day, and Carl Weathers is like a recurring character in that. He just plays himself. He's really good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that you said you watched?
Arrested Development. I've just
Arrested
been working
Development.
my way through that.
I've never seen a single episode of. I'm not gonna
It,
lie.
it's really funny.
Is
Michael
it?
Cera's in it, like before
Is it?
Superbad, I think. Yeah.
That's cool. Who's the main guy in it? What's his name again?
Jason Bateman.
No, the other guy.
Will Arnett.
Yeah, he voiced Batman in the Lego Batman,
Yeah,
right?
Lego Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. He's
Hmm.
hilarious. I think he's brilliant.
Whenever
I'm
I
pretty.
watch Arrested Development, I think like if it wasn't for Bob Odenkirk, he would have been pretty good as Saul Goodman.
Yeah, defo. That's actually a good call.
Mm.
We should
Better
remake
call.
Breaking Bad. We should
Better
remake
call.
Breaking Bad with. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
We should remake Breaking Bad with Will Arnett.
For sure.
Who
He
would you
plays all the
cast
characters.
if you were to recast Walter White and Jesse Pinkman? Who would you choose?
Mm. That is a
They had a,
tough call.
they had a good question.
That is a really good question. I think you could be Walter, I could be Jesse.
Okay,
How about
let's do
that?
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or my boys from Inside Number 9.
Jesse.
Steve Pemberton and Reese Shearsmith is Walt and Jesse. That'd be good.
Oh, do the thick of it. Peter Capaldi as
Yeah.
Walter White.
Hell yeah. Peter Capaldi could do anything, honestly.
Oh, he's a fantastic actor. I love him.
Hmm.
Truly love him. And in terms of the only other thing that I've watched, well, the only two other things I've watched, I watched the All Star Euro sketch show, whatever it's called. It's like such
Yeah.
a long name. I watched it about 3 hours ago, because it was Ford Kiernan and Greg Hemphill contributed to writing it.
Hmm.
Karen Dunbar was in it. The two guys from Burniston were in it. The guys from Scott Squad were in it, and just such a powerhouse of Scottish comedy.
Mm.
It was just a little half-hour thing, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
It
I have
was
no idea what this is. I still don't really know.
so it's because Scotland's in the Euros this year, the Euros football.
Somehow.
Somehow, like the whole of Scotland have got together and done this half-an-hour sketch show.
They never
Um,
invited us.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely should have. Like we
Really
could have
poor
done
choice.
a little popcorn podcast bit.
Yeah, that'd be
That would,
great.
that would have been the best bit in it.
Yeah, probably.
I laughed once in the full 30 minutes.
Good.
It was bad. And to be fair, I didn't laugh out of it actually being funny. I
Mm.
laughed at how strange it was because there's a bit in it where Ford Kiernan is just kind of sitting there with like a TikTok filter on his face, and he just kind of is just yapping shite to the camera.
I'm just
Kinda like
imagining like the Snapchat dog filter over Jack
No,
from
it's
Still
like, you know
Game?
the one that like makes their face like big.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of them, like a fisheye kind of
Yeah.
lens. It's the kind of stuff he does do on TikTok, but
Mm,
it was just such a weird thing to just put in the middle of this
yeah.
special
Maybe
that
just keep it on TikTok.
it did make me chuckle a wee bit because it was just so weird. But a lot of the humor, to be fair to it, a lot of the humor went over my head because
Mm,
it's very football.
yeah.
Like they're playing a lot of like managers and players and stuff like that, and
Mm,
I don't know anything about any of that.
yeah, me
Um,
neither.
but yeah, if you're into football, you might like it, but I genuinely got nothing out of it. And I was so excited because like I love Scott Squad, I love Burniston, I
Mm,
love all these, I love Still Game, and it just even though they done like Scott Squad and Burniston sketches in this show, they just
mm.
weren't funny.
Yeah, it's weird how, like, patriotic Scotland's going right now for football, when we're
Yeah,
obviously gonna get kicked out immediately. Like, we're
I
playing Germany,
yeah,
for right off the bat.
I don't like football,
No.
and I'm watching the game on Friday. Like
Yeah,
that's what it's
me
doing
too.
to this country.
Yeah. I was
um,
gonna go see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at my local cinema because 'cause we're
yeah.
playing for its 50th anniversary, but my parents were like, "No, no, we're staying at home and watching it," so I guess I've gotta join them
Oh,
for, like, Father's Day or some shit like that.
sure, sure. And the only other thing I can think that I watched was Doctor Who because
Oh,
Doctor Who was on Saturday.
I've still not
And
seen.
Fergus, you gotta watch it, man.
I know. I might actually do it
um,
tomorrow.
okay. But it was really good. I enjoyed it.
What was this one?
It was called Rogue.
Rogue.
It's kind of a Bridgerton kind of parody in a way.
Oh, I think I've seen part of that in, like, the series trailer, yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan Groff's in it. I don't know if you're
Oh, yeah,
familiar
yeah,
with
from
him.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's in
King
it.
King George.
He plays a bounty hunter in it.
Okay,
He's really good. He's brilliant, and you get to see a little bit of Shooty's kind of darker side as the Doctor,
okay.
which was nice to see. Kind of his
Yeah.
vengeful side.
It's always the best part of a Doctor.
Yeah, definitely. It's the first time in this series where he's kind of gotten to shine with it.
Mm,
Albeit it's like a little 1 minute scene, and then he's back to kind of happy go lucky. But
mhm,
you do get to see him at a much darker place.
mm.
It was really good. It was written by the people who did Loki, the series Loki,
Oh, okay. I
Kate
actually didn't mind
Herron,
that.
and yeah, I quite like Loki. I've not seen season 2
No, me neither.
because I've like fallen out of love with Marvel
Mm.
recently and just
That's a
boycotting
shame.
everything.
That's a shame, Jack.
The Marvels, man, it done something to my brain.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped after Quantumania. Well, I did watch Guardians and Across the Spider-Verse, but I
Yeah,
watched Quantumania after both of them, so
I will catch up with Marvel. Like me and Mum work through everything kind of
mm,
MCU related. But the last thing I watched was the Marvels, and
mhm.
yeah, the worst thing that MCU's done.
That's a shame, man. They took your love from you. They took your
Yeah,
passion.
like
Ever since you watched it, I noticed there's a little spark in your eye that's gone missing.
yeah, forget it's not fun. There used
It's
to be a time where I liked Marvel,
me too.
and this is coming from a guy who didn't mind Thor: Love and Thunder, didn't mind Quantum Mania. I didn't love them, but I didn't mind them.
Well, Jack, we've not gone to the hot takes portion of the
Oh,
video yet.
yeah, that's not actually in my hot takes, Fergus.
Should be.
But yeah, like the Marvels, nah,
Mm.
no one watch it. It's a terrible film.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone that was gonna watch it has probably done so by now.
Yeah, that's true. It's such a when you look at the box office stats on it, it's
Yeah.
actually funny. Like it's
Yeah,
kind of a team up movie with Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Captain Rambo, whatever her
yeah.
face is, and it like completely bombed at the box office. No
Yeah,
one went to see it.
I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's the woke MCU, go woke, go
Yeah,
woke." But I actually think it's because, like, 2 of the characters in this team-up movie, you need to have watched a Marvel series on Disney Plus for. Because
yeah,
for Rambo, you need to have watched WandaVision, and for
yep.
Miss Marvel, obviously Miss Marvel.
And I think that's kind of a shame that
Mm,
you have to have watched all these TV shows to actually enjoy and get the films.
Yeah.
Because like my grandparents, for example, really enjoy the MCU. I
Mhm.
watched it through with them. I think just kind of as we were coming out of lockdown, I was showing them all the MCU films because I'd already done them like in the first kind of wave of COVID.
Mhm.
So when we were coming out of that, I decided to watch it again. And I've just stopped showing them the films because I'm like,
Mhm.
they won't understand who these people are that we've
Yeah,
just
exactly.
assumed to know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's always been like that, to be fair, because you need to watch prior films, but it was only like a handful of films that you need to watch.
yeah, and I think the annoying thing is like if it's a film, like that's fine. But I'm
Mm.
not gonna make my grandparents sit through, I don't know, like 6 hours of Hawkeye, for
Yeah,
example,
exactly.
like or She-Hulk. I'm not gonna put that upon them.
Yeah, and it's like you can jump from Iron Man to Iron Man 2, right? You can jump between the Captain America films.
Yeah,
But like to go from Captain Marvel to Captain Marvel 2, you need to
yep,
watch 2 TV shows to understand what's
yeah,
happening.
yeah. It's annoying. I don't like it. And
Mm.
apparently, Star Wars is going a similar route
Yeah.
these days. So I don't love that either. But
Mm.
it is what it is. Streaming's ruining the
Yeah,
world.
basically. Yeah.
Okay, Fergus, do you want to give us one more thing that you watched, and then we'll get onto the meat and bones of this podcast?
Yes, I'd be delighted to. I'll keep this one brief,
Hmm.
but it was a rewatch for me the other night. We do a family movie night about once a week in my household, and this week it was
Yep.
my turn to pick the film, so you know you're getting some in class.
Yep.
It's
Yep. Of course.
guaranteed.
Of course.
So
George
we
of the
rewatched.
Jungle. George of the Jungle.
Yes, George of a Jungle Jack. We rewatched one of my favorites from recent years. Probably my favorite from 2019, Parasite.
Yeah, I saw that in
Yeah,
your letterbox. Five
l-
stars.
love
I saw.
Parasite.
Yeah.
Is I know that's such a generic thing to say because it's what like the eighth highest film in Letterboxd or something like that,
Yeah.
and yeah, one Best Picture and all this, but it's absolutely sensational. It was between that or Godzilla minus one, which recently got put onto Netflix.
Oh, okay. Is it on
Uh,
Netflix? I'll
yeah,
check
it's on
that out.
Netflix. It just got randomly dumped onto Netflix overnight.
Do you know what also got randomly dumped onto Netflix?
What?
Richard Linklater's new movie, Hitman,
Yeah, Hitman. Yeah,
which I'm sure just came out like a month ago, and now
yeah.
it's
No,
on
it's
Netflix.
yeah, it's distributed by Netflix. So it was in cinemas for like 2 weeks or something like
Oh,
that.
was it a Netflix? Okay, sure. Okay,
Yeah.
got you. I was
Uh,
I saw it on there, and I was like, that literally came out in cinemas like a week ago. What's going
yeah,
on?
yeah. It's weird, but no, it was between Godzilla and Parasite. And I flipped the coin, and it was Parasite. And my
Sure.
dad was complaining because he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sleep through this. You know, it's a foreign language film. It's 2 hours 10 minutes. I'm gonna sleep all the way through it." And by the end, he was so gripped. He was like really alert in his chair, like way more than I think he would have been with Godzilla.
Did both your parents like it?
Yeah, they both loved it. Yeah.
Okay. Because when we went to see it in cinema, me and dad loved it, and my mum wasn't so keen.
Mm.
And like, fair enough. I guess it's not everyone's cup of tea.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was just curious, especially if your mum liked it.
Yeah. No, she liked it more than my dad, I think, which was
Yeah.
surprising because we tried to watch it a couple years ago when it
Hmm.
first came out on Prime or whatever. And she like 10 minutes in, she wanted to turn it off because she couldn't be bothered reading the subtitles. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had to delay it a couple of years, but yeah, she really loved it in
You
the end.
do need to kind of be in the mood to
Yeah, I guess so.
actually sit and watch and read all the subtitles. Like, I think my mum always says with foreign films,
Mm.
like she's too busy focused on reading the subtitles that she's not actually focused on what's happening on screen.
Yeah, I hear
If
this
that
a
makes
lot.
sense. But I have no bother with reading the
Yeah.
subtitles and also watching what's on the screen.
Yeah, me
So
neither. The only thing I don't like about subtitles, and this only really bothers me when it's in English, to be fair.
hmm,
But it's when it ruins the comedic timing of a joke. It's kind of
yeah,
annoying.
yeah, defo.
Like when the subtitle pops up like even 10 seconds before what's about to be said, it just
Yeah,
spoils it.
yeah, defo. I don't watch comedy films with subtitles
Mm,
on. All the jokes will be
for sure.
completely ruined.
But yeah, no,
Um,
I don't have a problem with subtitles really.
and Fergus, could you briefly touch upon your thoughts of Blinded by the Light, please, Fergus?
Jack, can I ask something?
Yeah.
Did you say your dad watches these podcasts?
I think he does sometimes, at least.
Okay, if you're tuning in, I'm really, really sorry about my negative. Well, it wasn't even negative,
It
but
wasn't a
my
negative review. Like
my
I
underwhelming review of Blinded by the Light.
so I gave Fergus the Blu-ray for his Christmas, for your Christmas,
Birthday.
birthday, whatever.
Yeah, if it was
Um,
Christmas, I would have watched it a bit earlier, I think.
true, true. For your birthday, and I decided to do kind of what Roops does in Blinded by the Light by passing on Springsteen to another human being. I was like, I will give him this film; he will love it. And you weren't a fan.
No, I thought it was fine. It was charming. Uh, I didn't love it, but yeah, it's fine. It's like there's definitely an appeal to it, you know.
Yeah, and like Dad said, because me and Dad obviously love it, we're massive Springsteen fans.
Mhm.
You do, I guess, you do kind of need to be a bit of a Springsteen fan
Yeah, I
to
can get it.
like completely get it, like
Mhm.
completely get what this guy is like going through in
Yeah.
the film. But I love it. Like I've showed it to a handful of people, and most of the feedback I've got is kind of positive, but
Mhm.
I showed it to one of my friends, and it was the exact same criticism that you gave it.
Mhm.
So I found that kind of interesting, like the constant repeating of song lyrics
Yeah, but to be fair, I
throughout the
hated that.
movie.
I can
Yeah,
if it was occasional, it would be a bit better, but it's like every other line is,
yeah. I
no thanks.
kind of picked up on that when I watched it with her because she was commenting on it as we were watching it together.
Mhm.
And she was like, "Oh, not another song lyric." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
they do say a song lyric quite often in the film."
yeah,
Um,
basically every other line, yeah.
Yeah. But did you not the ending of the film when he presents in front of the school? Like that
Uh,
was
wasn't into it. Felt a bit
no,
like yeah, like, I felt like I'd seen it before, you know? That's just
bro.
kinda how I felt the whole film, like
Cut to me crying in the cinema.
well, like, I'm glad that had that impact on you, though.
Thanks, Fergus.
Well, no, I'm not glad that it made you cry, I'm just glad that it had more of an impact on you than me, that's
So
all.
you give it 3 stars.
Yeah.
Is that a generous 3 stars or
I think I said to you it was a generous 3 stars, but not really. Like,
okay?
I think on the whole, a lot of aspects of it are quite mediocre, but it's pretty charming, like, the cast are pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
You got my favorite Welshman, Rob Brydon, shows up for a bit.
Rob Brydon's really good in it. I think.
Yeah.
He's really funny. And did you? Because another complaint I got is the scene where it kind of randomly turns into a musical. They start
Oh,
like
yeah, I
running
didn't
about
like that bit.
did you not like that?
No, I wasn't into that either.
Oh, I love it, man.
I know.
It just randomly turns into this full blown musical, and it's
To be
great.
fair, I love when a movie will suddenly just throw in a random musical number as, like, a joke.
Yeah,
Like, in the Muppets movie, like, the villain starts doing a rap or whatever, it's pretty funny.
sure.
I don't
Yeah,
know, I feel like maybe it would've worked better if it was a musical, perhaps.
yeah. I get that, and like another complaint, I guess, is for more Springsteen fans,
Hmm.
is the title "Blinded by the Light."
Yeah, I've heard this, yeah.
It's like the songs like played once in the
Hmm.
movie. Like Born to Run is such a better title.
Yeah, I browsed through Letterboxd reviews for a bit after I watched it, and I've
Mm.
seen someone saying that, like, when he hands the tape back to his pal that gave him it, he, like, quotes Springsteen. It's from a song that isn't in either of the albums that he was given, which is a bit of an
Oh,
inconsistency there.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I love the film. I adore it. And you know what?
Just
Fair enough. You didn't like it. Like I
mm,
was messing around with you on Snapchat. I was like, I
mm.
will never talking to you again, Fergus.
I was
But
I
like,
was messing
fair
around
enough.
on Letterboxd when I said you had shit taste as well. I was just
Yeah,
joking
me and
about that too.
Fergus got into a little bit of a heated argument in
Yeah, well,
letterbox comments.
yeah, it was Mark's fault.
Yeah, Mark started
Mark
it.
spurred it on.
Yeah. Okay, Fergus, do you want to explain what we are doing in today's podcast?
Mm, I guess it could. Yeah.
Well, it was your turn to plan this week.
It was my turn to poorly plan it out this week.
You're not giving yourself enough credit. I think that's a good
Okay.
idea.
Okay, you know what, it is a good idea. I probably yeah, okay. Okay, we've got this week, we are gonna be providing you with our hottest takes, our most controversial opinions. Well, to be clear, controversial about film and TV, I hope.
Yep.
I hope he's
Yes.
not writing down some shit like, "Oh, I prefer Pepsi Max over Coke," or whatever, which is not a
No,
controversial take, by the way. That's the right
no.
answer.
Do you say you prefer Pepsi Max over Coke?
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
No, that's the right answer, Jack.
Pepsi is a poor man's Coke.
No, it's in disguise. Actually, it's actually the nectar of the gods, I would say. But
The nectar of the gods.
look, we are not here to have this
No,
discussion. Okay,
no.
but
It was you that brought it up, Fergus. It was
I
you
was using it as an example of a hot take that isn't hot, cold take. Okay,
Cold
so yeah, we've got 10 controversial opinions lined up, and we're gonna rattle
Yes.
through them. Explain ourselves to the best of our abilities.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it
Do you,
should be fun.
do you want to go first, or will I?
No, I don't want to go first, Jack. You go first.
Okay, so I've put mine in a kind of order from least controversial to most controversial.
I've got in my mind what I think is most controversial and what's released. So I'll do first and last, and then everything in between. I'll be
Okay.
yeah.
So my number 10 most controversial movie opinion is that Jackie Brown is one of Tarantino's best films.
This is interesting. This is interesting. You know what?
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to disagree with you because I love Jackie Brown, and I
Yeah,
think it's a great film. But I also think I have it at the bottom of my Tarantino ranking.
you do. Yes, I checked
Yeah.
before this podcast started. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone likes the movie. Everyone that watches it likes it.
Mhm.
I adore Jackie Brown. I think it is a fantastic film.
Mm.
After Pulp Fiction, it's my second favorite in
I
his
will
entire
say,
filmography.
I think Jackie Brown has a killer soundtrack.
Oh, the soundtrack's amazing, man.
Probably the
Like,
best Tarantino soundtrack.
oh yeah, and Tarantino constantly has good soundtracks, but I
Mhm.
agree. I think it's between that and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for having my favorite Tarantino soundtrack.
Which I've not gotten to yet, but
Oh, you need to. It's so
oh,
good.
Jack, I've got bad news.
What?
I got a little scratch on the bottom of a steelbook you gave me for Christmas.
Fergus,
I
what
know,
happened?
I was taking it home from uni in the car, and I got a little scratch. Sadly,
Ah, that's all good. That's all good.
it's on the
But
back.
yeah,
I don't see it.
I think Jackie Brown is just excellent. Like,
Yeah, for
It
sure.
was one of I think it was that. I think the first one I watched was Pulp Fiction, and then I watched Jackie Brown. Like, it was a very early Tarantino film for me, and yeah, I love pretty much everything about it. The entire cast are
Yeah.
fantastic.
I
Like, you've got,
genuinely would say it's Samuel L. Jackson's best performance for me, in my opinion. It's my favorite of his.
yeah, I would say it's a toss up between that and Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, that's also fair. Yeah.
And he's
Oh,
really
no.
good in Django.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Django is excellent.
He's so good as Steven.
But I love like everyone is casted so perfectly.
Yeah. I think we talked
Sam
about De Niro in it last week.
De Niro's excellent in it, man.
Mhm.
Like, even though he doesn't have a lot of speaking lines,
Yeah.
just his facial reactions
Yeah,
in that
he's really
movie
funny in it.
are excellent. Pam Greer's brilliant.
Mm.
I'm trying to think. Michael Keaton's in it randomly as
That's
a
right,
kind of
yeah.
detective. He's really good.
I don't know why he's
Um,
here. I think it has something to do with Spider-Man.
I think I've got something to do with Jackie Brown. Yeah, it's just casted so well. Who's the? My name's I'm forgetting his name, but who's the main kind of guy in it?
This is awkward because I was going to ask you the same question.
Is it it's Robert something?
De Niro.
No, it's not Robert. Is it
No.
Robert something? Right,
Maybe?
okay. You talk about Jackie Brown for 2 seconds. I'm gonna go.
I have nothing to say about this movie. No, I really like it. I think the last third of it is really good. First
Yeah.
two aren't as strong for me.
Yep,
But it's still really great the whole way through because, as everyone knows, Tarantino's pretty great writing dialogue.
oh yeah, it's the best at writing dialogue.
Possibly.
fantastic. It's Robert Forster.
Robert
Yeah.
Forster.
He's fantastic in it. I'd say out of what I've seen from him, he is his best performance as well.
I can't think of
Um,
anything else I've seen him in, so I'd
he's in
be
Breaking Bad.
inclined to agree. Is he?
Yeah, he plays like the guy that like puts Walter, like relocates him. Like, do you remember when
Oh
he's
yeah.
hiding? Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, he's cool.
yeah.
That was Jackie Brown's better though.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic. And yeah, it's great soundtrack, as you said.
Hmm.
Tarantino's direction. It's probably the least Tarantino feeling film, if that makes
Okay.
sense. It's probably
Yeah,
the
I
least
kind of feel that.
stylized
Yeah, I get you.
out of his entire filmography. But the way the whole, because basically in the film they're chasing after this bag of money. That's like the
Yeah.
full plot of the movie. The way that that's filmed, kind of at the end, you see it from every character's perspective,
Hmm.
is just genius.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so good. And yeah, I just absolutely adore Jackie Brown. Think it's one of Tarantino's greatest films. A lot of people consider it to be his worst. Kind of that and Death Proof.
Hey, look, okay. I mean, I've got it at the bottom of my ranking, but I still love it.
Yeah,
To be fair, it's between that and Reservoir Dogs. I think if I watch Jackie Brown right now, I know, but I
Reservoir
think
Dogs is my number 3.
I know. But here's the thing: if I watched Jackie Brown right now, then
Mhm.
Reservoir Dogs would be my least favorite. But I
Okay,
watched Reservoir Dogs quite recently, so it's currently got the edge
sure,
over Jackie Brown.
sure.
Also, can I
Yeah,
just say Samuel Jackson's ponytail in the film? It's really funny. I love it
top notch, top notch.
for sure.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Jackie Brown, like it's definitely the most underrated Tarantino film out there. Like
Mm,
not enough people talk about it.
yeah, I'd
Go
agree.
watch it. It's insanely good.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start off over here. I wasn't gonna do this as my first hot take, but this is
Hmm.
actually an interesting segue into it because I've got I think Death Proof is one of the best Tarantino films.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do.
So I've got it in my ranking. Depending on what you do with Kill Bill, whether you want to say that's one film or two.
Hmm.
If you count it as one film, I've got a number 3. If you count it as two
Okay,
films, I've got a number 4. The
okay.
only films I think Tarantino's done that I like more than Death Proof are Inglourious Bastards and Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly, I
that's
that will disturb you
that's
as a Pulp
yeah,
Fiction fan. Pulp Fiction's right behind Death Proof, to be fair.
yeah. As a Pulp Fiction fan and a Django fan.
Yeah, I love Django too. But that's the problem with Tarantino, right? And I think it was Ari Aster that said that trying to rank R is a fool's game or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Which is probably true because Tarantino's films, I feel like it depends on whatever the last one I watched was would be my favorite. It almost
sure.
feels like because I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
Django, but then
yeah.
when I think about next to Pulp Fiction and then Glorious Bastards, it's like it's not there for me.
Okay, that's fair enough. I really enjoyed Death Proof too. I remember when
Yeah,
I watched it, I had so much fun with it. It's probably his most fun film.
I'd agree. Yeah,
It's insanely like good fun, especially the whole third act with that
yeah.
incredible car chase.
I think one thing I'll say about it, right, in a similar vein to Jackie Brown, what I said about that is that to start off with, it's a bit slower,
Mm,
and it's by the end it gets really good. But it's still consistently good all the way through. Just at the end, it's really elevated. I think.
yeah. Um, one thing I don't necessarily love about Death Proof, and you can re- rebuttal this if you want, Fergus, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I'm not a fan of the whole grindhouse thing it's got going. Like it's all
Oh,
crackly and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
edited weird and it
I actually
randomly.
kind of
I'm
agree.
pretty sure it's like in black and white, and then it'll burst into color in random bits. And
Yeah, I kind of agree with you because I watched Grindhouse instead of just watching Death Proof like a normal person. I've done
yeah,
the Grindhouse experience, and
mhm,
yeah, I do agree. I kind of wish they could. There's a way to maybe not watch it like that.
yeah.
But I guess
Um,
it's going for a certain aesthetic to make it feel like a grindhouse cinema experience.
oh
But
yeah,
it is one thing I'll say about it is quite funny, and I think they do it in the other film, Planet Terror. Is that the
mhm,
other one in
that's
Grindhouse?
the one. Yep.
There's about to be like a sex scene, and then like the film just runs out, and then
Yeah.
or like gets set on fire or something. It just cuts to a later scene in the film.
See, that's quite cool. I get it,
Yeah,
and I totally get like if you're going to the cinema to watch this kind of grindhouse experience, it would be cool.
yeah,
But like just watching Death Proof on its own, it feels odd in a way.
yeah. I get that. I think I said about the sex scene. I think in Planet Terror, it's actually they literally just skip a whole segment of plot. Like it goes on fire, and then when it comes back, they're just about to like go to another location. And they all got like weapons or some shit.
I mean, that's a good way to get out of writing a scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How do we get these characters from here to here? Let's just set the film on
Oh no,
fire.
an accident happened. Oh no.
I've not done Grindhouse yet,
Mm,
but I really want to.
I would
Like,
recommend it. Yeah.
it's gonna be something.
Mm.
Planet Terror. Did you enjoy that?
I enjoyed it. It was a lot sillier than Death Proof is, and Death Proof's already pretty silly, but Planet Terror is just nonsense the whole way through.
Yeah, that's
But it's
a
it's pretty fun.
Robert Rodriguez movie, right?
Yeah. I think my favorite part of that is when you look on Letterboxd, Quentin Tarantino's credited as Rapist 1, which it seems apt, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Um they advertise that movie as being about a girl with a machine gun for a leg,
Hmm.
but that never happens for ages,
Yeah,
which is disappointing.
yeah. I'll give it to you, Fergus. Death Proof is a really good movie.
And I will say about Death Proof, the ending of Death Proof, I think, is one of the most satisfying movie endings I've ever seen. And I
Yeah,
would genuinely only tie that with maybe Inglorious Bastards for most satisfying
that's
end
fair.
scene. I won't
That's fair.
spoil anything, but definitely is
It's
just
got a really good ending.
yeah,
Like,
it's really funny. Yeah.
it's really well done. Did you know that Tarantino doesn't like it?
What? What's wrong with him?
I'm pretty sure he's went on record saying it's his worst movie. It's the
I
one that he's dissatisfied with the most.
I kind of get that, but on the other hand, I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
The stunt people are really good in the car.
Yeah,
I
it's
forget her name, but the Australian one's really funny.
yeah. I can't remember. It's been years since I watched
Yeah,
it,
she's playing
but
herself, isn't she? But
yes,
yeah.
yes. She's a stunt woman in real life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think she's on, like, most of Tarantino's films.
yeah. Um, yeah. It's a weird one because in terms of genre, I don't really know what I would say it is.
Mm.
It's kind of a horror action comedy
Yeah.
weird film.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slasher, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also really funny in
Yeah.
places. And it's
Well, so
also
is Nightmare on Elm Street, to be fair.
yeah, that is true. It is probably the closest Tarantino's got to directing pure horror.
Mm. Yeah, the
'Cause
the first death scene is really, like, unsettling.
oh yeah, the car scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching that for the first time and being like, "What the fuck is
Yeah,
going on?"
it's really inventive way to kill people as well, like, a
Yeah,
guy driving about killing people in his car.
yeah,
That's cool.
and they show that scene from like each character's perspective and how they
Mhm.
died, and
Yeah.
it's brilliant, brilliant. Okay, do you want me to do my number 9, Fergus?
I'd love you to. Number 9, Inside Number 9.
Inside number 9.
Inside Number 9.
Okay, not counting the newest one because I haven't seen it, so I'm not
Mhm.
counting that. There are no good Hunger Games films after the first one.
Okay. I'm just gonna say valid, but I've only seen the first one.
Okay. Everyone seems to love Catching Fire
Yeah.
and consider it the best Hunger Games movie.
Yeah,
That's
because
the wrong opinion.
yeah, we were remember that, like, Letterboxd 250 most fans list we looked at a couple
Yes.
of weeks ago? Yeah, that was on there, wasn't it? That's one that
Yes,
has a
yes, it
lot of
was.
fans on Letterboxd.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't. Catching Fire, it's got some good parts to it.
Is
Um,
Catching Fire the two-parter?
no, Catching Fire is the second one. Mockingjay is the
Okay,
two-parter.
okay.
So Catching Fire is the second one. So I love the first Hunger Games. I think the first Hunger Games is great. It's a
It's solid.
fantastic concept for a movie.
Yeah.
Great world building, great acting, just a really good movie.
The Minecraft minigame's better, but yeah.
Yeah. And the second one is just the same one. This first one done again,
Mm.
but worse. It's just rinse and repeat the full way through.
Mm,
Like literally no new concepts thrown in. It's just the first one, but a bit more boring.
mm,
Um, I don't love it, and I really don't understand how so many people adore it and consider it to
mm.
be the best Hunger Games movie. It just doesn't make sense in my head. Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2 are legitimately bad films.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they got good critical reception, like
Mm,
when they came out. I'm pretty sure Part 2 was quite well received by
mm,
audiences and critics when it actually came out. I think in retrospective, it's gotten a bit of shit, but
mhm.
especially Part 2. Part 2 is awful. Part 2 is literally them just running about a city for 2 hours. Like that's the full movie.
Brilliant.
Um, at least Part 1's got a bit of plot to it, I guess you could say. Like
Mm,
they're trying to do stuff. But yeah, it's very poor writing in Part 1 and Part 2.
mhm.
And I've not seen the new one, which I've heard is good.
Yeah, I've heard only good things about it, or decent at least. I think
Yeah,
it's on Prime now.
yeah. I've got the Blu-ray. I've just not gotten around to it yet. I will definitely soon.
Because it's a
I,
prequel, isn't it?
yeah, it's set in President Snow's kind of
Mhm.
life when he was younger. I wanted to watch it before the podcast so I could say if I hated every Hunger Games
Yeah.
sequel or not, but I haven't got around to it. But I just they're just so boring, the sequels, and I
Mhm.
really don't get how people are such big fans.
Yeah, I never watched any of them because I watched the first one,
Hmm.
and I just thought that was decent, I guess. But I never
Okay,
felt like I want to continue this series, really.
that's fair. I totally get how the first one came out in this kind of time when we were getting a lot of like teen sci-fi films.
Yeah, Twilight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think Divergent was
Divergent.
around
Yeah, but
then,
they
and
never
Maze
finished that,
Runner.
did they?
No, they didn't. And Maze Runner was around the same
Maze
time and
Runner.
stuff. And it was probably the best of a bad bunch.
Mm.
I do really enjoy the first Hunger Games. I think it's a really well made film. But Catching Fire being better than the first one is just in my head. That's an insanely hot take.
Mm.
But apparently I'm in the minority.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah.
It wasn't until I rewatched because I rewatched them all last year.
Mm.
And it wasn't until I rewatched because I always used to think no one liked the sequels.
Mm.
But then I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes score for Catching Fire and it's like 90 something percent. And I'm like, what
Yeah,
is going on
I
here?
always thought it was like 12-year-old girls that liked the Hunger Games, but
Yeah,
I guess
especially
it's
the
like
sequels.
spread. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just not good movies. Like
Vinny one did look decent, to be fair.
what one?
Uh, Songbirds and Snakes.
Oh, the new one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Jason Schwartzman looks like he'd be pretty fun in it.
yeah, and Peter Dinklage is in it. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
Peter
sure.
Dinklage,
Um,
Viola Davis,
yeah, big
Hunter
cast.
Schafer. Yeah.
I do. I'm hesitant because it's the same director as 2, 3, and 4 of
Mm.
the other Hunger Games movies that I don't like.
Mm.
So I'm hesitant on it, but I
Mm.
will check it out because I've heard it's the best one since the original.
And there's also a new one coming out about Haymitch.
Yeah, I'm excited for that to be honest.
Mhm.
He's probably my favorite character. So
Yeah, I remember liking Haymitch. Yeah.
I mean, it's just Woody Harrelson playing himself, isn't
Yeah,
it?
basically. It was
Like,
like that in the Planet of Apes film that he was in as well.
yeah. But yeah, that's I can't say much more about the Hunger Games films except after the first one it goes very downhill
Mhm.
for me anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. That's kind of the impression I was got from it.
Yep.
Okay. Shall I entertain you with my next hot take?
Go for it, Fergus.
So I think this is my least controversial, probably my most mild one,
Okay.
I'm gonna say. Oh god, what was it? Oh yeah, okay. I think, right? And I know this is something a lot of people like, but I don't think people would say it's the best one.
Hmm.
I think the best episode of Black Mirror is the national anthem.
Yes, you
Season
do.
1, episode 1. Yeah, we touched on this I think last week, very
Yes.
briefly,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is I'm just gonna say spoiler alert right off the bat. if you're planning on watching Black Mirror at all, skip over this bit because I think it's
Yep.
a great episode and you don't want it spoiled at all.
Yep.
But for those who have watched it and maybe don't remember, this is the episode where the Prime Minister is blackmailed into having sexual intercourse with a pig.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great concept.
Is it not based off a legit rumor that happened with David Cameron when he was in university or something?
It's weird because it came out like 2 years before that story broke.
Really? I always thought it was based off that.
Well, it's a weird coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost like they got insider knowledge or something. There's probably rumors going about, to be fair.
Yeah.
There was a claim going around that David Cameron put his willy in a dead pig's mouth.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is, I guess maybe inspired us, but
to be fair, I love the national anthem.
Yeah, me too.
It's a really good episode of Black Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
It's very topical, I think, especially now.
Mm-hmm.
Best episode, Fergus?
Okay, so my second favorite, though, is Shop and Dance.
That's more what I would expect from a favorite episode.
Yeah, that is a fantastic episode. I remember just sitting absolutely shocked after it finished.
The twist in that episode,
fantastic twist,
is insane.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, seeing as we're going on favorites, is Nosedive.
Nosedive. Maybe hot take. I don't love it as much as everyone else does.
Oh, Fergus, it's so
no, do you know why I don't love it, Jack?
Why?
Because a year before that episode came out, there was an episode of Community, right, which was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the exact same thing. There's like people getting ratings on an app called Meow Meow Beans, and the fives went to the top and the ones went to the bottom. It's the exact same thing.
So yeah, Charlie Brooker needs copyright strike.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, Nosedive is fantastic, and it's probably, I'd probably argue, the most topical episode of Black Mirror ever.
That's fair enough. There's a lot of them, to be fair, a lot of very topical episodes.
But yeah, so explain why you think the national anthem is the greatest episode.
So okay, when I started watching the show, I was like, "This is an anthology show. I can watch them in any order I want." So I looked at the 3 episodes from season 1, and I was like, "This Prime Minister one sounds the most interesting. I'm gonna save that for last." Okay. So I don't know why I thought that sounded the most interesting. Didn't even mention the pig. It was just like the Prime Minister has to face a moral dilemma or some shit like that. So I watched everything, and I watched that, and I was just absolutely blown away by it. Like from the get-go, it's just so gripping. I think.
Yeah.
Like it has you really captured the whole way through.
It is a very gripping episode, and it doesn't actually. I feel like Black Mirror has created a name for itself. It's like a very technology-heavy show, very futuristic show. The national anthem's very not that.
Yeah, because I think it still is kind of like Black Mirror though, because I think Black Mirror really shines when it's showing the consequences of technology. And obviously this episode is about him, fucking the pig on national television.
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of how technology plays into it. It's public for everyone to see.
It's a very dark episode because
it is.
Like, if that were to happen, everyone would watch it.
Yeah.
Like, that's just fact.
Yeah, I remember there's a bit where, like, before it plays, we're saying, like, if you're caught with a videotape, you'll be fined or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, would probably happen. But, yeah, it's so disturbing. And I think, again, spoilers if you're still watching this segment, but the fact that the princess that was kidnapped gets released before he even, starts doing it. And
dark.
nobody sees because they're all sitting at home watching it happen. Dark. There's people like gathering in the pub to watch it and all this.
Yeah.
And
and I feel like I was going to say something else, but it's gone out of my head. But yeah, it's such an insanely dark.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, I'm pretty sure even in the show, they're saying like what a big outrage it is. Like, and in real life, people would be on Twitter going, "This is disgusting. This is horrible.
Mhm.
Why would the prime minister do this?" And then they'd go and watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It just shows
Everyone
you
would be watching. Yeah.
how hypocritical the world is.
Mm.
That we would sit and be keyboard warriors saying this is horrible, this is
Mm.
disgusting, and then we'd actually go and watch the thing. Like
Yeah.
everyone would tune into it.
Yeah, because if it was Boris Johnson, we'd definitely
Oh,
like,
100%.
nobody wants to admit it, but we probably all would, like,
Yeah,
tune
yeah,
in.
yeah.
And even if you didn't, like, it would be inescapable. It'd be all over Twitter and TikTok.
Oh,
Like, you'd
yeah.
definitely see it at some point.
But in terms of the first series, I
Mm.
wouldn't even say that's my favorite episode in the first series.
Yeah, a lot of people have said, but the first series is very strong, to be fair.
It's
Honestly, I think
only 3 episodes, right?
yeah, I think the entire history of You is my least favorite from that series, which a lot of people
I
say
would
is the best one,
I
but
would agree that's my least favorite. I think 15 Million Minutes is my favorite.
yeah, it's a fantastic episode too.
It's so good. Again,
Yeah,
another good look into like talent shows and how
mm,
messed up they are.
exploitation, yeah.
Yeah.
We should do a Black Mirror, episode. And not like we should make one, I mean, like, we should do a podcast on it.
Let's make a Black Mirror
Yeah,
episode.
hell yeah, why not?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mm.
I was rewatching them all, and then I got to where did I get to? Is it Men Against Fire?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not a fan of that one, and I think
Yeah,
I'm
it's
halfway through
okay.
it and stopped. So I do need to go back and continue rewatching them all.
Mhm.
And I've not seen the latest season yet.
50/50
Yeah, I've heard
on that.
mixed things. I've heard, is it Lock Henry?
Lock Henry, yeah,
I heard
that's a
that's
good
really
one.
good. And is that the one with Adam Paul in it?
No, that's Beyond the Sea.
I've heard that
Overrated.
one's good
Hot
too.
take. Hot
Oh,
take.
okay,
Another hot
okay,
take. Overrated episode.
okay.
It's too long.
Yeah, fair. They do get like extremely long. Some of the
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't mind a long episode, but some of them are like don't justify that. Like White Christmas is a long one, and that's fair enough because
Yeah,
there's 3 different stories going on there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
there's that one Hated in the Nation with like the robot bees, and it's the
Yes.
longest episode. I think it's like feature length.
Yeah, it's literally like an hour and 30, is it not?
Yeah, there's just no need for it. I mean, it's got Wong, to be fair,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
apart from that, yeah. Oh,
But yeah,
one more thing I'll say about the national anthem that
go
makes it
for it.
really great. First of all, actually, the stomach drop when you realize he's actually gonna do it,
Yeah,
because the whole episode is like, is he actually gonna go through with this? And you don't even know really.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, because it seems
It,
like such a graphic thing to put on TV that you wouldn't expect them. Like you'd expect them to find a way to get him out of doing it, but
yeah, and I feel like it does a good job of making everything very believable. Like you would
yeah,
believe he would be pushed to actually
yeah,
doing this horrible thing.
for sure.
I feel like
And
a lot of shows would jump the gun and just
yeah,
go from like him saying no to randomly saying yes.
mhm,
But the progression throughout the episode is
yeah.
brilliantly done.
Yeah, and the scene where he actually, has intercourse with the pig
Hmm.
is really disgusting as well. What a horrible, horrible scene,
Yeah,
but
and
in the intended way.
it's another one of those where you don't really see much, but
Yeah,
it's more what you're imagining
mhm,
that's messing with your brain.
for sure. They show you enough, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, defo. They show you enough without actually having bestiality in
Yeah,
the episode, pretty
yeah.
much.
One other
Um,
thing
yep,
that makes this episode an all-timer, it's
go on.
got Neil's dad from The Inbetweeners. The actor's name escapes me, but he's
Yeah,
he's great. He's in the thick of it as well. He's a Julian
yeah.
in that.
All the performances in that episode are great. I can't remember the name of
Yeah.
the guy who plays the prime minister, but he's really good.
No.
He's been
Yeah, I
in
seen him
quite a
in an
few
episode
things.
of yeah, he's in Number 9.
Is
He's
he?
in
Yeah,
Number
yeah.
9,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure he's in Bond.
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the old guys from Bond is in it, like Llewellyn Davis or something like that, maybe?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Got you. But yeah, really good episode. Wouldn't say it's my favorite episode of Black Mirror, Fergus, but
That's fair enough.
I get why it's your favorite. Like, I
Mhm.
totally get it.
Also, strange episode to open the show with.
Oh yeah, like
It's weird, like 15 million merits or entire history of you would have been way better as an opener, but
it's not a pilot. Like
no. I
it's
guess it's just to, like, test you to see if you're gonna stick with it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, are you ready for my number 8?
Yeah, I waffled about that enough.
Okay. I know this one is. I know it's low down in the list, but I think a lot of people would consider this one to be pretty controversial.
Well, that's the idea.
Terminator Dark Fate is a good sequel.
Which one is that? Is that the most recent one?
Yes, that's the newest one.
Okay, I've not seen this,
Mhm.
but if it's anything like Genesis, Jack.
It's not like Genesis, Fergus. I promise.
Okay, what?
I hate this is coming from someone who hates Genesis with a passion,
hmm
like one of their least favorite films of all time. I
Really?
Yeah,
That bad?
I despise Genesis, Fergus,
Yeah, fair
especially
enough.
as I'm a massive Terminator fan. Like I
Mm,
love it so much. Genesis was just a massive shit on the full
yeah,
franchise.
that's
Just
fair enough.
retconned everything.
Maybe my hot
Um,
take is that I don't love Terminator as much as everyone else. The
first
first one,
first two,
the second one is an all-timer, like
yep.
one of the best action films of all
Mhm,
time. First
mhm.
one was okay.
First one's
I
great.
like it. I like it a
I'm
lot, but
I
I
think
watched it
I've
with my
got
friend a couple months ago and I was underwhelmed because it was a rewatch and I remembered it being really good.
I
But
think I've got the first one at a 4.5
mm,
and the second one at a 5. Like I love the first two. Like some of the best films to handle time travel just
yeah,
ever. Like the whole concept's just handled so well.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, in terms of what I think of the franchise, I think three's okay,
mm.
four's bad, five's terrible,
Is that
and six,
Genesis?
yeah, five is Genesis, and six, Terminator Dark Fate, is a good movie.
Okay,
Um, a lot of people, a lot of fans were annoyed because in the first 5 minutes, it does something pretty bold, which I'm not going to spoil.
oh,
It basically it's a direct sequel on from Terminator 2.
does
It
John
discounts
Connor die?
it, it discounts
I might
three,
be on
four, and
something with that.
five of as ever happening.
Okay,
Which fair enough. I think it was the first one that I think James Cameron was involved with this one in some kind of way. He was like
right.
a producer on it or something. And he wasn't involved with 3, 4, 5. So I get them doing a direct sequel to 2. But yeah, spoiler alert: in the first 5 minutes of the movie, John Connor dies.
Oh
Um,
no!
as in, he dies as a kid. Like it
What?
picks up from where Terminator 2 ends, and he gets shot by
Oh
a
shit!
senator. So a lot of people were unhappy with that, and
Understandably.
fair, yeah, I get it, but I kind of liked that in a way. It kind of made the full film kind of unpredictable. Like you weren't, no one was safe, kind of thing. I look at your face, Fergus.
Yeah, this is worrying, Jack. I'm not sure that oh god, this is not your best take from the sounds of
Well,
it.
that's the point of the video,
Well,
Fergus.
yeah, that's true, but what they
um,
killed John Connor.
yes, so they kill John Connor, and yeah, the full rest of the film is full of some really neat concepts. The way they bring Arnold back into it, I think, is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he's like an old man.
Yeah, the way they
Yeah.
explain that, I think, is actually pretty well handled because every single Terminator film needs to find a way to bring him back somehow.
Mm.
And I think this is probably the best explanation. Again, I
How
won't
did they
go
explain it?
into it. I'm not going to go into it, Fergus, for spoilers. But you'll need to watch it and find out,
Oh,
won't you?
true, true. I don't want yeah, okay, fair enough.
And yeah, the action's really good in it. It's really well shot. It's directed by the guy who done Deadpool, I believe. Can't remember his name.
Oh, you're selling me on it.
You have to admit the direction of Deadpool's good. Like the action sequences are fun.
I guess. Yeah, yeah, okay. Like,
There's
not
a
Deadpool
there's
2.
there's a great action sequence in a plane in this movie in Terminator Dark Fate. That's awesome. It's just what I'd argue one of the greatest action sequences in the franchise.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good. Like Terminator 2 is on a different level,
Yeah.
but like in terms of the sequels, probably the greatest action scene.
Okay.
I really enjoy Terminator Dark Fate. I get a lot out of it, and it leaves off on a cliffhanger for a sequel that'll probably never come
Never gonna happen.
because
Yeah.
didn't do well at the box office. But
No, I
I
think we might have found the one Dark Fate fan,
yeah,
which
literally.
is terrific.
Well, my dad likes Dark Fate as well. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
okay.
he liked. I'm pretty sure Mum liked it as well.
Well, your dad likes Blinded by the Light, so.
If he's watching this,
Oh
Fergus,
no,
you're
it's a joke. It's a joke. Please, please.
but yeah, I really, I get something out of it.
Okay,
And
that's fair enough.
I think the villain, I can't remember the actor's name, but I think he's really good in it.
Mm,
Kind of does a similar kind of performance as the Terminator and Terminator 2.
sure. Robert
That kind of
Patrick.
that kind of stone faced kind of
Mm.
performance. But he does a really good job, and I think the effects are good. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good time.
All right. Well, I might check it out, but yeah, I have
Yeah.
to watch 3. Well, you
No,
said
you
you don't
don't.
have.
No, you
Yeah,
don't. You
I know, but
don't.
I do need to watch 3 at some point. I don't know about
Three's
4.
pretty dumb. It's dumb fun. Like it's one of those.
Yeah, I remember one time I was in CEX. It
Hmm.
was the one in Perth, and
Hmm.
I went to like the DVDs bit, and it was just a whole wall of Terminator 3 DVDs.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it's not a favorite, but
I used to love Terminator 3 as a kid, and
mm,
like as I've grown up, each time I've watched it, I've been like, oh, this
yeah,
isn't great.
yeah. I think we've all had films like that. To be fair.
Yeah, but if you Terminator Dark Fate's an interesting one because in the first 5 minutes, it obviously does something so bold.
Hmm.
If you can get past that and are liking it, then you'll get to the full film and enjoy it.
Okay. You know what? You know what,
Um,
Jack? I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a
yeah,
shot.
yeah, you won't. I don't think you'll like it, Fergus.
No.
But
Okay.
yeah, I get something out of it.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean it's hot takes for a reason, so don't get offended, guys. It's just our
yeah.
hot takes. So
Well, let us know down in the comments if you disagree. No hate comments, but let us know down in the comments
can give Jack
if
some
you
hate
disagree,
comments.
and let us know some of your hot takes as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
That'd
Go
be good.
ahead. Go and do that for us.
Okay,
We might
your
read them out in the
number.
next one or something.
Yeah, maybe. You're number 8, Fergus.
My number 8. Oh, I forgot to put them in order, so I'm just gonna pick one at random.
Okay.
Okay, here's a hot take, and people over a certain age might not think this is a hot take.
Hmm.
Okay, but to people closer to our age demographic, I think a lot of people dislike this show, and I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna defend it
Hmm.
publicly and embarrass myself. Okay,
Okay.
I like the sitcom Friends.
Yep.
I actually don't mind Friends at all.
Right. Okay. So this is interesting
Mhm.
because so your controversial opinion is that you like Friends.
Mhm.
I had on this list. I took it off that
Uh-huh.
I didn't like Friends as a controversial opinion.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Friends is really weird because a lot of people who grew up watching it really like it. People
Hmm.
who watch it when it's on TV really enjoy it, right? Who lived during that era. But now, I think a lot of people really hate it in
Yeah.
retrospect.
Do you know what I'm a bit of a closeted Friends fan in a way, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I'm kind of
I
the same. Yeah,
I
I don't like to
often
admit it.
yeah, I often say I don't like it, and
Mm,
then if it goes on, and I'll sit and watch it. Like Mum quite likes it, and she'll throw it on every now and then.
mm,
I'll sit and watch it, and I'll laugh along.
mhm.
But like in terms of plot, I couldn't care a single iota about
Yeah,
what's going on in front of me.
this is the thing. When we get to about series 8, I think it is,
Hmm.
everything goes wrong. This is
Yeah.
typical of a lot of sitcoms, but by series 8, things have gone wrong because they
Yep.
I guess spoilers for Friends if you give a shit about that, but they try and get Joey and Rachel together as a couple, and it is the worst
Yes.
thing to ever happen, ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I know bits and pieces.
Mm,
Like I've seen. I know who everyone like ends up with in
mhm.
the end. That kind of thing. Um. But in terms of like actual the storylines, I don't know a lot.
Yeah, that's fair, because we're not that interesting, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, that it's classic sitcom formula, I guess.
Yeah, the hook of the whole thing is like, oh, are Ross and Rachel gonna end up together by the end? The thing
Yeah.
is, They're like the two most unlikable characters in the show. That's which is
I
the problem.
I think my favorite character is Matt LeBlanc's character. Is that Joey?
Joey, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's my favorite.
He's my favorite too. It's between
What?
him and Chandler.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes in it is the scene where I'm forgetting characters' names here, but is it Monica?
Monica.
Is that Courtney
Yeah,
Cox?
Courtney Cox, yeah.
And Chandler are getting together, and
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure Matt LeBlanc figures out,
Mhm.
and that's a really funny scene. As
Yeah.
you see him like slowly like piece it together, and he's like, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Chandler like carries him into the bedroom like out the way
Yeah.
before he says anything. I'm like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. No,
Um,
there's a lot of good gags in Friends, and a lot of good moments between Joey and Chandler specifically, because they have a
yeah,
flat together, so they get a lot of little subplots, and those are always the best to follow. And
yeah,
also, Lisa Kudrow's character Phoebe is pretty
mm,
entertaining as well.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
always
She's
doing
like
her own little thing.
the dumb blonde kind of character, right?
Yeah, she's like she's a bit of a hippie, I guess you could say.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a bit odd, but she's like the Kramer of the group. If well, I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
if you
yeah,
watched Seinfeld, but that's kind of
yeah.
what she's like.
Yeah, sure. I'm always impressed by the amount of like people I've seen like guest star on it
Yeah,
because Bruce Willis is in it,
I was
right?
gonna say Bruce Willis is like the best guest star in it. Yeah, he's
And
really good.
does Robin Williams not appear in an episode of it
He
in like the
might though.
coffee
Yeah.
shop, just like chatting? Basically, they just wanted Robin Williams in the show to get ratings
Mm,
up.
yeah, that's probably what happened. Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's a fine show. I get why people like it. I don't think it's my cup of tea.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
I don't love it, but I do
like
I enjoy it. Yeah.
I will never watch it from start to finish ever in my life.
Mm.
I will see bits and pieces of it when it's on telly, but I will never sit and actually watch it. That's
Mm.
a avid choice that I'm making. Like I will never. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair
um,
enough.
and did it not? And I don't know if this is true, but did it not steal the whole turkey on the head gag from Mr.
Yeah,
Bean?
yeah, but it is quite good in Friends to be fair.
I, I mean, but
They do it well. It's
it's
not as good
just
as Mr. Bean.
it's just stolen.
It might not be, to be fair. What year did that episode of Mr. Bean
Yeah,
come out?
that is true.
It
I
might
was
have been
trying to
like the
think.
same year almost.
Maybe just accidentally wrote the same
Yeah,
sketch.
yeah, yeah. No, I do enjoy Friends. It's not my favorite, but it used to be back when I was
Okay.
a little tyke, and then a couple of years ago when I was in New York, we went to like the Friends experience, and they had all the costumes and
Oh,
that
that's
kind of
cool.
made me like reconsider my hatred that I developed for Friends. So now I don't mind it as much.
Cool. Okay, it was interesting that I had on my list. I've taken it off,
Mm,
and I think it was in favor for the Jackie Brown one.
hmm.
But I had on it that I didn't like Friends as being a controversial opinion, and you've got
Yeah,
you like Friends as a controversial
yeah,
opinion.
it's weird because every time I see friends getting like discussed online, people hate it. But whenever I
Yeah,
speak to someone in person about it, they like it. So maybe I don't know. I guess you have to be terminally online to be a Friends hater.
yeah. Okay, are you ready for my number 7?
Yeah, you talk over it. I'm getting flooded with Discord notifications, so I'm gonna go mute that real quick. You
Okay,
just you start.
okay. My number 7 is
Okay, okay.
another pretty controversial one.
Mhm.
Um, I'm slowly
That's the
realizing
idea.
that
That's
all
good.
of these are pretty controversial.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. You've done your homework. That's good.
Um, so I know a lot of people are going to. I got hate comment when I did my ranking video of this franchise.
Uh huh.
After the original, Jurassic World Dominion is the best Jurassic Park film.
Oh no.
Yeah, a lot of I ranked every Jurassic Park film on the channel, and I got some messages regarding my placement of Jurassic World Dominion at number
Uh,
2.
that was actually me. I done it.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
From alt accounts.
Yeah.
um, you know what? I quite like all the Jurassic World films. I like the first one like second best. I like
Mm,
the second one the least,
mhm,
which I think is kind of the general opinion. The
mm,
Fallen Kingdom's the worst of the Jurassic World films.
mm.
And Dominion, I had a lot of fun with in the cinema. Um,
I avoided it because I didn't think I would have any fun with it in the cinema.
I went into it kind of going, look, if they give me dinosaurs running around a city, I'll be happy.
Mm,
I'll get some fun out of it, and they did that. So I got what I kind of wanted out of the movie.
fair enough.
Um, like there's definitely bad bits in it. Like
Mm,
I'm pretty sure I've only seen it once, and that was in cinema. So my thoughts on it are kind of a bit hazy.
mhm.
But I'm pretty sure they stop all the dinosaur stuff to focus on locusts.
Yeah, that's what I heard about it. I was gonna bring that up and interrogate you on this. Why did
Yeah,
he do this?
it's I don't really know.
Nobody
um,
cares about locusts. They want to see dinosaurs.
yeah, I think they go down a route of like the locust is kind of like an ancestor of dinosaurs, or
Mm.
like they're connected biologically
Her
somehow.
web connects them all, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
her web connects them all.
Mm,
But I can't really remember why. I just remember that being the worst bit of the movie.
mm.
I think that happens kind of right at the start, and I'm like, we could be watching Chris Pratt on a motorcycle ride away from dinosaurs right now. Like,
Yeah,
why are we not seeing that?
yeah, exactly.
And it's just kind of focused on Sam Neill looking at locusts for
Mm.
about half an hour.
Now,
Um,
here we
but
are.
what?
I'm gonna tell you why I didn't watch this movie.
Okay,
As soon as I saw Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum were gonna be in it, I
yeah,
lost interest.
really?
Yeah, well, okay. Well, also the fact that I really despised Fallen Kingdom.
That's fair.
That also done it for me,
Do
but
you know what?
yeah.
I think on Letterboxd I've got all three Jurassic World films with the same score.
Mhm.
I think I've got them all at 3.5.
Okay.
I just kind of in my head, and I know a lot of people would probably disagree with this. They are just harmless, fun movies. Like you've got dinosaurs in a film. Like it's not to be taken seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I mean, yeah. The only thing is, you could be watching something else. You could spend your money on another film. But to
Yeah,
be fair, okay, I actually liked the first Jurassic World just fine. It was actually a fine movie. It was pretty fun.
yep.
Honestly, would probably say it's better than Jurassic Park 2.
I would agree. Jurassic Park 2 is my least favorite in the franchise.
Yeah, you know what? The thing with that is, right, like, Jurassic Park 2, the exciting thing about it is, like, "Oh, the dinosaurs are going to San Francisco." Is that where we go?
Somewhere like that. Sure.
It's oh, yeah, the dinosaur or San Diego, I think.
Mhm.
It's one of the Sans. "Oh, dinosaurs are going to the big city. Let's see how that goes." And then that's hardly any of the film.
Yeah.
Is that
I remember coming out of the cinema because I remember seeing all the hate for Jurassic World Dominion.
Mm,
People going, "Oh, it's the Rise of Skywalker of Jurassic
mm,
Park," and all this stuff. And my expectations were so low, and I remember sitting there going, I think I enjoyed it that much because my expectations were so
mhm,
low, and then it ended up being like a fine movie
yeah,
that almost like I was sitting there going, "Why does everyone hate this? Like
mm.
it's a bit of fun."
Yeah, that's fair.
It's if I were to give it some criticisms, the stuff with the locusts is boring. It's probably overly long. I think it's about 2 hours and a half.
Mm.
It's too long for the story it's trying to tell. But if you want to see just a nice kind of nostalgia filled dinosaur romp, then throw it on. It's a good movie.
Or just watch the original Jurassic Park.
I mean, the original's still the best. I
Yeah, and
don't
it will never
like
be overtaken.
it will never be overtaken because they're doing more Jurassic Park films, right? Are they not
Probably.
doing
Yeah.
Jurassic Universe?
Oh, good lord, great.
No, they're
What's
doing.
fine?
I can't remember what they're doing next, but they're doing another one, which is like it's Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and it's Jurassic something else for this next movie.
Hmm,
Um, but they actually wrapped up things quite nicely with Dominion, I thought, and I
okay.
know a lot of people will disagree, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I think the kind of old characters were handled actually really well.
I'll tell you now, Jack, I'm never gonna watch this movie. Well, it's
The
very unlikely that I will. I've made
the
my mind up on it
the
already.
only character that I would say isn't handled with the amount of care that I wanted was Jeff Goldblum.
Hmm.
They kind of make him a bit cringy in scenes and kind of like woke, I guess you could say.
Woke? No,
Yeah,
Jack,
yeah, yeah.
it can't
He's
be
kind of like
woke.
well, not woke, but like tech savvy, and just it doesn't suit Jeff Goldblum. Like, he's going
Oh,
around saying like hashtag lol and
oh,
stuff like
piss off! No.
that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I got fun out of it.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I'm still not gonna watch it.
You should, Fergus. You should.
No, because like I don't even think Jurassic Park should have gotten one sequel, even because
Yeah,
it ties itself up so perfectly.
I kind of agree with that. I think the only reason they've done a second one is there's a second book,
Yeah,
and they were like, we've obviously got more story to tell here.
a second one makes sense because it ends with like the pterodactyls flying away into the sunset. Whatever.
Mhm.
Maybe we can follow this up once. You can have one
Yeah.
Jurassic Park sequel, but after that, it's like and it's so weird that they're so successful as well because like another film with ability of Jurassic Park is Jaws, I guess you could say, and
Mhm.
but none of the Jaws sequels had any traction really. Like they're not
Yeah.
remembered or anything.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
weird.
But yeah, I got fun out of it. It's my favorite since the original. It's nowhere near the original's quality, might I
Mhm.
add, before people start saying I like Jurassic World Dominion the same as I like Jurassic Park,
Mm.
which is not true. It's a good step down in quality, but it's still a fun time.
Fair enough. Has it got a talking raptor in it?
No, which is something that Jurassic Park 3 holds.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the one thing from Jurassic Park 3 I'd put into Jurassic Park 1, and then Jurassic
Alan!
Park 1 would be perfect. Yeah. Oh, Christ. Okay,
Okay,
okay.
Fergus, give us your number 7.
What to pick now? Okay. I don't know if this is even controversial. Really? I don't I had a hard time picking
You
these
did
because I
a
have a
good
lot.
job, Fergus.
Yeah, I
I
know, it
don't
was
know if
my
this is
idea as well.
controversial.
I had a hard time picking out some hot
Mhm.
takes, but I think a lot of people really like this movie.
Okay.
I despise the movie Step Brothers.
Okay.
Step
That's
Brothers
interesting.
is one of the worst comedies I've ever seen. I will say later on, a comedy I think is worse, but I don't even know if you could classify it as a comedy. But
Okay.
anyway,
This is interesting, Fergus, because I've seen Step Brothers years
mhm,
ago. I remember liking it,
mhm,
but I also don't remember loving it like a lot of
yeah,
people do.
yeah.
I remember cracking up at the scene in the car where they sing "Sweet Child of Mine"
Why?
because that was funny.
But like, just watch Wayne's World though when we did Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I guess.
That's
And
way
does he not
better.
rub his balls on the drum kit?
Probably.
That's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
that sounds about right. I have not seen it in a couple of years,
Okay.
but it is.
What do you not like about it, Fergus?
I think it's not the only movie of its kind where it's the Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly Man Baby movie, right? Because
Yeah.
there's also Holmes and Watson that came out a couple of years ago, which
Yeah.
I would actually, to be fair, in Step Brothers' defense, Holmes and Watson is 10 times worse.
Yes.
But the reason I
Yes.
didn't pick that as my hot take is that nobody likes that movie.
No, it was such a flop, that movie.
Yeah, that was too far, even for the Step Brothers fans.
Yeah.
I
Have
just,
Have you seen? This is just going a bit off topic. Have you seen Talladega Nights?
I was gonna mention that I've not seen it, but I've heard it is even people who don't like Step Brothers quite like that one.
I think it's probably the best team up of those two actors.
Mm,
Yeah, I like Talladega Nights. I think I do need to rewatch Step Brothers because I haven't seen it in like since I was a kid.
mm,
I just remember it being a bit of a. I went through my like Jim Carrey stupid humor phase.
mhm.
Like Jim Carrey, Mike Myers, funny faces are funny, poop jokes are the best kind of
Yeah!
phase of humor.
Glory to Poop
Uh,
Joke. Oh, yeah.
and poop jokes. And I remember watching Step Brothers then and being
Mhm,
like, this is fine.
mhm.
Like I don't remember loving it, but who knows? I might watch it and hate it. I might watch it and love it.
What I've got written down in my notes, and I think this
Mhm.
sums everything up, is Step Brothers gives me a headache.
Okay.
This is the best way I can describe it. It is so, like this is a style of comedy that I really dislike, is not allowing subtlety in any way. Right?
Yep.
Step Brothers is just so over the top, and it's like oh, let's scream balls at the top of our lungs or some shit like that. It's like this is not funny. This is not funny to me. It's so
Yeah.
juvenile.
No,
I I
I completely get how it's not your sense of humor. Like,
I yeah, I can't get anything out of watching Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly be like babies.
I
I
personally think if I would rewatched it today, it would not be my sense of humor anymore.
mhm.
I think. When did you watch it for the first time?
I watched it, I don't know, when I was like 10 or 11. I watched it with my parents
Okay.
the first time. I say I
Okay.
watched it with my parents. We had to turn it off after about 5 minutes because we all none of us could stand it. We had to immediately turn it off.
Yeah, I didn't know if because I was a kid when I watched it, I
Mm,
got a bit more out of it. Like it's got a much I've got a better like memory of it, I guess, than it probably deserves.
mhm.
Because thinking back on it, I'm like, that's not funny. That's not funny.
Yeah,
That joke wasn't particularly funny.
yeah. And, like,
Um,
the thing is, I'm not against the idea of, like, man baby comedy movies because I love
mhm,
Dumb and Dumber.
mhm.
Like, but that film, I don't know, there's something a lot more subtle about the humor in that film. Or, like,
Yeah,
they're doing it's very loud still and very over the top, but there's still, like, a bit of sincerity to it at least, and there's some charm in the characters.
yeah. I think Dumb and Dumber is just a bit more cleverly written.
Yeah.
It's still in that kind of a time when like spoof films, I guess, and that kind of writing from like stuff like Naked Gun
Mhm.
was still kind of big.
Yeah.
But there's some of that in Dumb and Dumber.
Mhm.
Like similar jokes to like what you got in like Airplane and Naked Gun and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Step Brothers is just it's just kind of fart jokes and that's kind of
Oh,
it.
balls and willies,
Yeah,
hey.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, totally.
and I think I've never loved Will Ferrell that much. I think he's good in a handful of roles.
hmm
Like, he's good in Elf, I guess, and
Anchorman.
Anchorman, yeah, Anchorman's very good. Barbie, he was funny. Lego
hmm
Movie, he was good as a voice actor. I think
hmm
that's probably about it. But, like,
Okay.
see Elf, right? His character works in that because everyone else is, like, an actual person, and he's a childish buffoon. But in Step Brothers, because there's 2 childish buffoons, it's like double the migraine that I get from it.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And, like,
totally.
I love John C. Reilly, so it really pains me to say that I hate Step Brothers, but he's so good in, like, everything else I've seen him in. But in
Yeah.
Step Brothers and Holmes& and Watson,
It's such a strange film because a lot of people I've seen consider it one of the greatest comedies of all time.
mhm,
I'm sure I've watched loads of like lists on YouTube being like, oh, the top 50 comedy movies of all time. And it's
mhm.
always on there. And it's
I
the
don't
one
get
that
it.
it's the one that I feel is the least clever.
Yeah,
Like it's there's nothing really clever about it. It's just dumb for the sake of being dumb. And that's not necessarily a bad thing all the time.
mhm,
Like I like dumb jokes every now and then, but
yeah,
that full film is innately dumb. Like
yeah,
the
for sure.
full thing.
Yeah, it's
Um
just a migraine
yeah,
incarnate.
yeah, totally. No, I'll give you that one. Do you know what? I'll rewatch it soon
I
and
won't.
I'll update you on my thoughts.
Thank you, Jack. Maybe you'll like it more.
Maybe.
But no matter what, to be fair, it'll never be as bad as Holmes& and Watson.
Yeah, I've not actually seen Holmes and Watson. I watched 5 minutes of it when it was on Sky Movies, and I turned it off
Don't
because it was
bother.
awful. No, I won't.
Terrible film.
Okay, are you ready for my number six?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Um, okay, this is this is an interesting one.
Mhm.
Um, Home Alone 3
Oh, no.
and
Don't start.
you've not let me finish. Home Alone 3 and Home Sweet Home Alone are good films.
Christ. Okay. Okay.
um,
Let's hear
so
explain yourself, Jack.
so again, the first Home Alone, it's the best one. There's no
Yeah,
touching it.
yeah,
It got the formula perfect. There probably didn't need to be any sequels.
yeah.
Okay. Home Alone 2 is good. It's a fun little sequel. It's kind of the same thing happens again, but it's fun.
And it has Tim Curry.
It
The
has Tim
pizza.
Curry. Yeah, the pizza.
Pizza.
Have a lovely day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start quoting Tim Curry now.
Yeah, go on.
Um,
Do it in his voice for the rest of his segment.
no. um, so the first two are definitely my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Home Alone 3 does something different, and I like that from the off. It's
Mm-hmm.
different. The film starts, I'm pretty sure, in North Korea,
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's right.
and it's a spy espionage movie all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. It's different. It's throwing a spanner in the works. It's just strange. It's not a way you would expect a Home Alone movie to start.
Okay.
And I quite enjoy the kid in Home Alone 3.
What's your word in there, Jack?
I think the kid's a good actor.
Okay.
I like his
That's fair.
character. I think he's funny. In my opinion, not a better character than Kevin, but I probably think he's a better actor than Macaulay Culkin.
Okay, there's another hot take.
Yeah, I don't think Macaulay Culkin's that great an actor.
No. You're in Culkin supremacy.
The kid in Home Alone 3 is actually a decent little actor.
Hmm.
And I really like the traps and everything. I love the
Mhm.
villains. The villains are a lot of fun. They're over the top. I love how they're meant to be these really like serious bad guys, and they're just so stupid and silly. And it's a fun movie.
It's got your favorite song as well, Jack. You wanna give us a little rendition of that?
This is my watch yourself become. It's the best song in a movie ever.
Yeah, so
It's
you
so
say.
good. It's so when he's doing the traps, and it's I would argue this to the day I die. It's the best like trap setting scene
Mm,
in any Home Alone movie. I think that
mm,
song, and this is going to get me so much hate, is better and more impactful than the John Williams score. And
no. Don't be
um,
silly, man. Come on.
I
Quit
love that
horsing around.
song. I love that song. Um, it's a no, it's a bad song, but it suits the film so much.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's silly. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I do like Home Alone 3. I've seen it a handful of times in my life, and yeah, it's fine. It's not
Scarlett Johansson's
she
first acting
yeah,
role.
she yeah, I forgot she was in that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I do enjoy Home Alone 3.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll never watch it over either of the originals, but
yeah,
it's
that's
still
fair.
fun. You know, yeah.
And now we're going to get to. So I don't like Home Alone 4 or 5. I
No,
actively dislike them.
no, nobody likes them.
And then Disney announced that they were going to be revamping the series with Home Sweet Home Alone.
Which was met
It's,
with much delight.
yeah, it's got the kid from
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit in
Yeah,
it,
Yorkie.
Yorkie. It's got I can't even remember the actor in it, but he's a big comedy actor.
Is it I wanna say John Mulaney's in it, but I feel like he's
John,
not.
I think it is John Mulaney,
Yeah, and then Ellie Kempner as well, right?
Ellie
They're
Kempner.
they're the 2 well, I wanna say wet bandits, but they're
Yeah,
not wet bandits, but
it's a good film. It's a lot of fun. It was another one of those, a bit like Jurassic World Dominion,
mhm,
that I got a lot of hate when it came out,
mhm.
and my expectations were so low, and I watched it and I was like, that was harmless, like that was just
Yeah,
fun. A nice little twist on it, kind of focusing on the bad guys
yeah, this is
in
what
it.
I've heard about it, yeah.
A lot of people didn't like that. I really liked it. Again, it was something different.
Mhm.
Um, the traps in it were painful again.
That's
Like,
good.
there's a scene where I think there's like an alarm code thing, and
Mhm.
the bad guys have. Well, they're not even bad guys in the movie necessarily. It's like the full film's kind of a misunderstanding,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, some people wouldn't like it. I think it's quite funny. But basically, there's this alarm keypad, and he's memorized the number, and the kids put like a tack through one of the numbers, and you just see it go
Mm.
straight in his finger.
Oh,
And I'm
God.
like, that feels like classic Home Alone traps.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
But
released the butcher of the wet bandits in the first 3.
yeah, but 4 and I think 3 is still pretty violent. It gets a little bit more cartoony.
Mm.
Um, even 2 is like a lot more cartoony than 1.
Yeah, there's like a skeleton bit.
Yeah, but 4 and 5, the traps are just awful. Like
Yeah.
none of them look like they actually hurt, and they've got these really like bad sound effects over
Hmm.
them. Like somebody gets hit with a frying pan, it's doink, like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Les Mis.
Um, yeah,
We can talk
but
about that later.
Home Alone. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's interesting. But yeah, Home Alone 6, I did get a bit of fun out of. There was one really bad trap, and there's a trap where he puts a VR headset on the main guy, and he thinks he's like on a cliff. And
That's is
that's
what?
that's dumb.
But yeah,
I
that
get
is
that's
really
dumb.
dumb.
But I don't know. A lot of it was like I'm pretty sure he's like firing Nerf bullets, but he's got
Yeah.
like a nail through them, and he's like
Damn.
firing.
Dude, that's pretty illegal.
Yeah,
It's like do time for that.
I like it. I've watched Home Sweet Home Alone, I think the past 2 Christmases.
Really?
Yeah. I've also watched Home Alone 3 the past 2 Christmases, I think.
That's a bit more valid. To be
Um,
fair, I've not seen Home Sweet Home Alone, but I got bombarded with trailers for it when it was coming out, and I
uh,
just cringed every single time because of a kid, really. Like,
yeah. I quite like him. He's good in Jojo Rabbit. He's good in Home Alone. Like
yeah,
he's
I remember him in Jojo Rabbit. He was pretty
and
funny in that.
another thing that the film does quite well is it brings Buzz into it.
Isn't he like a bad guy
No.
nowadays?
Buzz plays a cop
Yeah,
in
but
the
like
movie.
no, but he's like the actor's not very well. I think he done
Oh,
like some domestic abuse or something.
that's not good. Bring Your
No,
Own Popcorn does not support that.
no, no.
But the character of Buzz is quite funny.
Yeah, he is.
And you know what? He's brought into it in a cool way. And I'm pretty sure there's a scene where basically he gets called, like he's a cop in the movie, and he gets called by I can't remember the main character's name, but the kid.
Yorkie.
Well, yeah, Yorkie.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he's like, oh, every Christmas, my brother Kevin like phones in a fake call, and I'm like, that's something Kevin would totally do.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
that's so believable.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair enough.
and
Yeah.
it gives a nice reason as to why. I can't remember the reason off the top of my head, but I remember in my review, it gives a good reason as to why he didn't just call the cops.
Mm.
Like, I'm pretty sure it gives like a nice explanation, because in the first one, one of the main criticisms is why doesn't Kevin just phone the police?
Yeah.
Like, but I'm pretty sure it gives an actual good reason in
Okay.
Home Alone 6. But I know people hate the movie. I checked on Letterboxd. I'm pretty sure it's got a 1.5 currently.
Yeah.
I've got it as a 3-star.
Damn, really?
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's same
Jeez.
as I've got Home Alone 3.
You only got
kinda-
that free.
Yeah.
You need to put it up. You're always going on about Home Alone 3.
I've got the first one at a 4.5,
Mm.
second one at a 3.5, and then 3, and then the bottom 2 I think are 1.5 star.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But yeah, that's what I think of the Home Alone franchise.
I only like the first 2 a lot. 3 is okay.
That's fair. You should watch Home Sweet Home Alone, Fergus. You might.
Maybe I will this Christmas time.
Even if you just want to hate watch it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna get forced to now. You're gonna do like a Christmas episode and you're gonna force me to watch it.
Okay, Fergus, give us your number 6.
Well, I guess I hinted at it, so I might as well go for this one. Not a fan of Les Mis. Les
Yeah.
Miserables. Not
Yeah.
a fan of this one. Sorry.
Do you want to give us your reasoning on that, Fergus?
I think I talked about my little story about it before, where I went to the gym and I was really tired, and then it was 2 hours and 40 minutes of non-stop singing, which with like no break, which is fine. But like I can tolerate that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I almost wish it, like there was a bit more breaks between them, because I never really could tell when a song was starting and another one was finishing.
Yeah,
I guess,
I get that.
but
I get that.
I don't know. I just Russell Crowe is probably the first thing I'd point to. Like right off the bat, they really did not. I like Russell Crowe, but I don't know if he was the best choice here.
Yeah, a lot of people really hate on a lot of the performances in the movie,
Yeah.
and especially a lot of the singing
Yeah.
performances in the film.
Yeah.
I'm more on the praising side. I get Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe sounds like he's got something stuck in his throat the full
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, it's
But
terrible.
Hugh Jackman's great.
He's pretty good, yeah.
I love Hugh
I
Jackman,
do like
and
Hugh
Anne
Jackman.
Hathaway's great in it.
She's pretty good.
I
Solid.
quite like. Why can't I remember actors' names today? Amanda Seyfried. I think
Is that how
she's
you
good
say
in
her
it.
name? I've always wondered how you say her name.
Yeah, Amanda Seyfried.
Thanks for teaching me, Jack.
How do you say her name?
I never knew. I always said
Oh,
I
okay.
always just called her Amanda Seinfeld.
I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce it, by the way. That's just
Oh.
how I
Oh
say
shit, okay. I might just keep calling her Seinfeld then.
it. She's good in it. I quite like a lot of the performances.
I will
in it.
say, I quite like Borat in it. And Helena
Sacha
Bonham
Baron
Carter.
Cohen's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
both of them
that
are
is the
great.
one song that I really like in the film is Master of the House.
Yeah,
That
it's a
song's a
great
lot of
song.
fun.
It's a great song. But I am of the opinion like they had a full like Broadway cast. Why didn't they just put them in the movie?
Yeah.
Like they can obviously act and
Yeah.
sing.
Yeah, and this is a similar thing with another movie by this iconic director Tom Hooper, who went on to make Cats,
Yeah,
which has one of the most bizarre casts I think I've ever seen.
James Corden and Judy
James Corden,
Dench.
Taylor Swift, Rebel Wilson,
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen. Did you mention Idris Elba?
No, Jason Derulo's
Jason
in it.
Derulo, yeah.
Rebel Wilson.
Yeah, strange cast. And
Yeah,
like a lot of these people are not singers,
no, no. I mean,
which is
James
weird.
Corden likes to think he's a singer,
Oh yeah,
as
yeah, he loves
as
his
does Rebel
carpool.
Wilson. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're not great.
No, but we're not talking about cats because everyone hates cats, so
Yeah,
it's not a hot take. Les Mis, yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. Like, I'd like to see a stage version. I think
stage
that'd
version's
be
excellent.
a
So
lot
good.
more gripping. There's another
Yeah.
song that I liked. It's the one that's like, oh, France is so great, freedom, and all that. I don't know the
Oh,
words.
do you hear the people sing?
Yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah,
I
I
like
like
how
that
I
song as
got it
well.
from that.
Yeah, well, that's I think those are the lyrics from it, aren't they?
Yeah, you
France is
could
so great,
write your own
freedom.
version of Les
Yeah,
Mis.
yeah, I might as well. Yeah, I might make it a Fortnite. Yeah,
Do you know what? I've said this for a while. A Muppet version of Les Mis would go so
that would
hard.
go. That'd be great. But who would be the human? Who would you keep as
Hugh
the
Jackman.
human? Yeah, okay.
Hugh
Yeah,
Jackman would be in it, and then all the other Muppets would play different characters.
and like it would be less painful to listen to like Gonzo sing than Russell Crowe in the film as
Yeah, it
well.
would get
So
very dark though. Like they'd have to change some stuff. Like imagine just making Miss Piggy like a prostitute.
yeah, yeah, and get her head shaved and all that. Oh, that'd be so bleak. Jeez,
Kermit having like a sword fight with Hugh Jackman.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love
Oh,
it. And
um,
Fozzie Bear should be the Sacha Baron Cohen's character, I think.
oh, 100%, 100%.
And then
Um,
Hugh Jackman's daughter is Camilla the Chicken, and Eddie Redmayne's character is Gonzo.
yeah, yeah, Gonzo would be Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah,
Like that's just guaranteed.
for sure.
Um, yeah, I get why you don't like it. Like I get
Mhm.
it. I really, well, I say really, I've got it as a 4-star. Would maybe drop to a 3.5 these
Mhm.
days. But yeah, I do enjoy Les Mis.
Yeah,
Love the music, love the acting. I'm
there's
not a
a
massive
lot
fan
to
of
enjoy.
Hooper's direction. Like it's a bit
No,
odd, it's
no,
strange, it's
no,
bleak.
thank you.
Um,
I like the set in
yeah,
like where we have the battle,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
a
that's
little
cool.
town bit. I like that.
That's similar to how it is on stage.
Hmm. Yeah, I kind of imagine it. I kind of wish. I don't know. I guess the whole film was set there almost, or we got to see a lot more of it in a way.
Yeah,
Or if the whole film looked like that, it'd be cool. I
yeah,
want it
yeah,
to look like the stage musical brought to life rather than just
yeah.
being in Paris.
Yeah. Do you know that Taylor Swift was originally cast in Les Mis?
As whom?
Eponine?
Who?
Eddie Red, not Amanda Seyfried, the other kind of
Oh,
main female.
oh, sure. To be fair, I think I don't recall the actress's name that plays her, but she done a really good job in it.
Samantha Barks, who
Yeah,
was the
that's
only
right.
one from the stage show
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
that's
got
right.
in.
Yeah, she done a good job. I liked
So
her.
I think Taylor Swift, I don't know if she dropped out or something, but then they were like, who can we get in? Oh, the person who actually plays her on the stage show. Let's
Yeah,
do that.
what a strange idea. I mean, she can
um,
act.
yeah, but
But they kept Taylor about for Cats, though, which was the
yeah,
better
yeah,
film,
yeah.
of course. The role
They
she
all
was
had to
born to play.
they all had to go to cat school.
Yeah,
You heard that?
I heard that was, yeah.
I'm
Right.
pretty sure I saw an interview with James Corden and Taylor Swift, and they were like, "Yeah, we had to go to cat school."
Which is
Like,
weird, because they don't even act like cats anyway.
oh.
They're just people.
But yeah,
Cat Cats is its own
I
thing.
get your Les Mis problems.
Yep, I thought it
I
was Les Miserables.
I your face waiting on me
Not
laughing.
proud of it. I'm really not proud of that.
Yeah, I honestly think maybe if you gave it a go in a clear head, you might enjoy it more.
Maybe I don't know,
Um,
I don't wanna sit through it again, it's nearly 3 hours.
yeah, it's a long movie.
I really did not enjoy it that much. I was waiting for it to end a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. I remember I think I was kinda hyping it up for you. I remember
Yeah, you might have
going
been. I
in,
think Mark was as well, our
you were
friend
like,
Mark.
You really enjoy this, Fergus," and then you were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, 3 stars."
Yeah. I there's a lot of nice, like, leitmotifs as well. I don't I it's not bad film. I got it,
Yeah,
like, free,
yeah,
but it's not
that's fair.
my favorite.
Okay, are you ready for my number 5?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's hear it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I think you are going to not like this one quite a bit.
Mhm.
The UK office is way better than the US office.
So, I've seen, I think, 2 episodes of UK Office,
Okay.
but
Um,
I didn't mind it. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like continuing it because it was just I'd already seen the American one at that point.
okay. So I've seen all of the UK office multiple times. It's one of my favorite shows. I absolutely adore it.
Mhm.
It's Ricky Gervais when he was likable.
Yeah.
It's just such a well written show. I love it.
Mm.
One
He
of the
couldn't
best
make
ways.
it today though because of woke.
Obviously,
Yeah.
obviously.
He's gonna
Yeah,
get cancelled for that.
yeah, Ricky Gervais is going to make that very clear in his next stage show, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
um, but so in terms of what I've seen of the US office,
Mhm.
I've seen season 1, which I know a
Yeah.
lot of people don't like,
Don't like season 1.
which I get because I hated it too.
Mhm.
And then I've seen kind of a plethora of random episodes from like every other series,
Mhm.
and I've not enjoyed a single one of them.
Really?
I despise the US office with a
This is not what I
passion.
like to hear.
It's so bad. It's not funny. It's trying, and I get it's different. I get that it's different from the UK one.
Well, not the
But
first season.
well, yeah, that's kind of the issue with the first season. I hear is that it just
Yeah,
copies the UK one, and the
but it
humor just
doesn't
doesn't
work.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But like I'm just watching this kind of crap American comedy, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, I could be watching the UK one.
Well, but they are quite different though.
Yeah, but
Because
not different in a good way, different in a bad way because the US one is bad.
but do you not like Dwight?
No, no,
Dwight's like one of the best characters.
no. Gareth from UK one is way better.
Yeah, I guess. I it,
He's just a poor carbon copy. Like that's what every character is, just a poor
Mhm.
carbon copy. Steve Carell as Michael Scott is atrocious. It's
What?
so Ricky Gervais's David Brent is iconic. Michael
Dude,
Scott,
they're not even like the same character though. I mean, they were in the first season, but
they're similar characters.
no, Michael
Very
Scott is
similar.
so different, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the best part of the show. And spoilers for the US office, I don't think from the sense of it you're gonna watch it, but
No.
he leaves at the end of season 7, and
Yes.
the last 2 seasons go to absolute shit as soon
Yeah.
as he leaves it. Like I like The Office, I will not defend season 8 or 9 at all.
Okay,
No way.
okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen. Look, I might watch it all one day, and my opinion might change, but I know this opinion won't change. I'll always prefer the UK one.
that's fair
It's just
enough.
much more my type of humor. It's very is the UK one's quite awkward humor.
Yeah,
A lot of it comes from how awkward David Brent is
yeah.
and the kind of scenarios that he gets himself in. The
Mhm.
American Office is just jokes. Like that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to
Well,
write jokes.
not always. There's a really good episode where Michael, has to go to, like, a school,
Hmm.
like, 10 years after he promised a class of kids that he was gonna pay for their college tuition, because he
Hmm.
assumed a decade later he would be a multimillionaire, so he'd be able to
Okay.
do it, but he's not got a penny to give to them, and he has to go and, like, awkwardly explain his way out of this situation.
Okay.
I
Um,
Stuff
I mean,
like
I've
that
I've
makes
not
Michael
seen
his
that.
own character, I think.
I've on I've seen the first season. What's that, like 6 episodes?
Yeah,
And
something like
then
that.
I've seen probably 10 others.
Mm.
So I might have just watched bad episodes. It's possible.
Yeah,
But in terms of what I've seen, I don't like it, and
I
I might watch it one day and enjoy it. But the
I
UK one
think
will always be better.
the earlier seasons of The Office are great because they're, like, they they portray office life as being really boring, and it's just these people trying to make the most out of it,
Hmm.
right? But once we get to, like, season 5 maybe, like, everyone's pals and everyone's having a great time at work, and they're all having fun at work, and they're all good mates, and it's not the same. It's not as cutting, really.
Yeah, and like what you just said about the US office, like trying to make it just office work seem as boring as it is. Like
Mm.
the UK one does that and does it better, Fergus.
Well, yeah, there is that, but also Michael Scott gets himself in some absolutely ludicrous situations, which is
Yeah,
great. There's
I
one
just
episode where he's, like, got an absolutely tiny TV, and he's just trying to show it off because you can extend it forward slightly, and he's making it seem like the coolest invention ever.
I yeah, I just think I prefer David Brent as a character
Yeah, a lot of
personally.
people say that. It's fair enough. I
Um,
definitely need to finish the UK Office. I was actually going to recently, but it's not an iPlayer anymore.
is it not?
No.
I think you can get the DVDs for like
Yeah, that's probably what I'll
£3.
do. But yeah, I would like to finish it.
It's so good. It's like such a good show.
Mm,
And it's 2 seasons. It wraps every story up very nicely by the end. It's just
mhm.
wonderfully done. I think that's why I don't like the US one as much. It's just kind of classic sitcom thing.
Yeah, there
The
is
UK
that.
Office was kind of, I don't know, breaking the mold, I guess, is what from what you expect from a sitcom. It's
Mhm.
kind of doing something different with this whole mockumentary style.
Yeah.
Whereas I know the US one is still meant to be a kind of mockumentary, but it looks a lot more sitcom-y than the
Yeah.
UK one does.
Yeah, definitely, especially in the later seasons. Again, earlier, it's a lot more grounded and realistic, but as it goes on, it's just getting kinda ridiculous and silly.
Yeah, my dad loves the UK Office. He was the one that introduced me to it, and he told me that when the first episode of the UK Office aired, it was marketed as a documentary. Like it
Yeah,
was actually like people thought, "Oh, this is real,"
I can believe that.
and it was only like kind of episode 2 or 3 where like it came out that Ricky Gervais was a person and David Brent wasn't real and was a character. Um,
Yeah,
but
you couldn't get away with that with the US one, to be
yeah,
fair.
if you showed someone the UK Office, you could convince them it's a real documentary. The US one,
Yeah,
you would never do that.
yeah.
It's
I
just a
think
classic sitcom.
that's just the style of American comedy, I think, though. It's a lot
Yeah,
more polished. But, like, I generally prefer UK comedy, though. Like,
yeah,
my one of my favorite shows is Peep Show. I love Peep Show, and it's
yeah, yeah,
very British. But, yeah, America is completely different. I love some American sitcoms, like Community and The Office, as I've
uh,
said,
uh,
but I think British humor is a lot more
yeah,
subtle and
yeah.
grounded.
The one American sitcom that I got really into was Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, you know what? Here's a hot take.
Hmm.
Not into it.
No,
No.
I
Couldn't get
I
into it.
got into it kind of just. before lockdown, and then I
Mm.
kind of watched the new season as it was coming out during lockdown. I liked it. It was a fun show.
I gave it a shot, and I liked Terry. I thought he was pretty funny, and I liked
Yeah,
is his name Captain Holt?
Captain Holt's the best,
He's the
man.
best character.
Yeah,
But
he's so good.
here's my hottest take of all. I'm
Uh,
not a big Andy Samberg guy
I
myself.
love Andy
I'm
Samberg
not
so
not
much.
big on him. I don't know.
Um,
Yeah, Jake Peralta is just not a
that's fair.
character I really
That's
like.
fair. I'll give the US office one positive
Mhm.
piece of feedback.
Mhm.
I've watched the scene where they do CPR to the doll.
Yeah.
That's legitimately quite funny.
Yeah, that's a really good scene.
And I
That
think it's literally because I love Ed Helms and he just
mm.
makes that scene
Have
when
you
he
watched
starts
the
singing Staying Alive.
have you watched the whole episode?
No.
That's one of the best episodes. It starts off with his absolutely ridiculous fire drill. Like Dwight sets off a fire alarm and it's absolute chaos.
I'm pretty sure I've seen GIFs. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
there's a GIF of
probably.
Steve Carell being like, is he it's happening or something?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a really great scene to be fair.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on the US office. Not a
Yeah,
fan.
it's valid. A lot of people don't like it, and yeah, I think the earlier seasons of it, season 1 excluded. If you look at like season 2 to maybe 4 or 5 of US
Yeah.
Office, it's really good. After that, there's only a couple decent episodes.
Yep. Okay, Fergus, give us your number 5.
Number 5. Oh God, we're running out of time here. Okay. Here's a hot take. Here's a spicy one. This is
Uh-huh.
one of a spicy variety.
Ooh.
My favorite Coen Brothers movie is Burn After Reading.
That's a massive hot take,
That is a
Fergus.
very hot
Holy
take.
shit.
Yeah, I know.
I
I've
didn't know that about you.
yeah. Well, I watched it somewhat recently, and yeah, it's fantastic. It's
I had on my list and I took it off again because I had like 20 written down and then I was like a lot of these I was like I'm not passionate about, so I took some of them
mm,
off. I had The Big Lebowski as being overrated on my
my
list.
guy. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because
agreed.
it's not a great movie in my
I
head.
yeah, I don't love it. To be fair, it's been ages since I've seen it, so I
Same, that's why I
probably
didn't
should give it
include
another
it.
shot.
Yeah.
But out of the 4 of their movies I've seen, it's my least favorite. I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
I'm not
fair.
huge on it. I will give it another shot because I love John Goodman.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this is this will give me some hate. Don't love No Country for Old Men. I know a lot of people love
Ah,
that one. Yeah,
okay.
to be fair, Javier Bardem in that one, he
Mhm.
plays Anton. He is sensational. He's easily the best part of that film, and
Yep.
is really like a really terrifying villain.
Yep.
But there's like something that happens towards the end of it that kind of put me off it. I won't
Okay.
spoil it all, but
Yep.
yeah, I think if you watch it, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah. I assumed that your favorite Coen Brothers film was Fargo.
It
Kind of like
was.
everyone.
Yeah, it was Fargo for a bit. I think most people's is No Country for Old Men, to be fair.
Is it? I always assumed that Fargo or The Big Lebowski was kind of a lot of people's favorite.
No, I think most people love No Country. I mean, it won
Okay.
Best Picture, I think. Did it?
Yep.
Yeah, I
I think
I
so.
I see a lot of people loving that. But yeah, Fargo's really great. I love Fargo.
Mhm.
Frances McDormand's great in it.
Yep.
But Burn After Reading is really great. It's a very underrated comedy, I think.
Yeah. Who's in that?
Frances McDormand, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Tilda Swinton, John Malkovich. They're the main 5.
Big cast. Big
Yeah,
cast.
yeah.
I've got the Blu-ray,
I
so
I
I'll
I
check
would
it out.
really recommend it to you. I think you'd love it.
Yeah.
It's
It's been one of those that's been in the collection for genuinely years.
mm,
But I feel like I need to get a little bit more acquainted with the Coen Brothers before I
me
watch it
too.
for some reason. I feel like
Yeah.
I should maybe watch Fargo first because I've never
Mm.
seen Fargo.
Yeah, you'd like Fargo
I
as
think Big
well.
Lebowski's the only Coen Brothers movie I've seen.
Oh, about Garfield.
Oh, Joel Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the only Coen Brothers movie I've seen, and I
Mm,
watched it, and I just assumed that their style wasn't for me
mm,
because everyone raves about it, and I
mm.
just didn't enjoy The Big Lebowski that much. So I just assumed, oh, if I don't like one of their highest rated movies, I'm not going to get much out of their other ones, which are
Yeah.
maybe of a similar style.
Mhm.
Um,
I
what
wanna
was
watch
the?
her film, Serious Man. I think I'd probably quite like that.
Yeah. What was? I can't remember. Oh, is it Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to check that one out for a while because I've heard that's really good.
Yeah, and they done Buster Scruggs as well,
Yes.
which I'd quite like to watch.
Did they not do Hail Caesar? Was that one of them?
Yeah, yeah, they done that, yeah.
Which I know no one liked.
I don't remember which one's the least preferred of the 2, but whichever one that is done Drive Away Dolls this year, which I didn't watch. But I
Okay.
don't think a lot of people loved that.
Sure. Sure. So what do you love about Burn After Reading? Like,
Uh,
why
Brad
would you
Pitt.
say it's their best film? Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he's really funny in it. He's like this absolute doofus
Yeah,
who gets a hold of, like, CIA secrets. And then
brilliant.
well, this is the whole plot of the film is, like, these 2 gym workers played by Frances McDormand and Brad Pitt
Uh-huh.
find these CIA secrets that, were part of this book that John Malkovich was writing about his memoirs.
Okay,
But, they're, like, really unimportant secrets that nobody gives a shit about.
right.
But they think they've got, like, a huge amount of blackmail, so they're trying to yeah, we're trying to blackmail John Malkovich, and
That sounds good. To be fair, that sounds
yeah,
funny.
it's a great it's like a farce, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's really funny.
yeah.
J.K. Simmons is in it. Um,
Oh, sold. Love
yeah,
J.K.
yeah.
Simmons.
I will say it has a bit of an abrupt ending, which I think a lot of people might be put off by,
Okay,
like, very abrupt, but I think it's pretty funny.
okay, sure. Okay, I need to give it a go. I think I
Yeah,
need to watch like other Coen Brother movies except for The Big Lebowski.
yeah. Watch
Fargo's
Fargo.
like, yeah, Fargo's so high up on my list.
I love
It's
Fargo.
one of those films like I'm a bit scared I don't like.
Mm,
You know, like we were talking about like The Godfather last week. I think it was last week we
yeah.
were talking about that about watching these very prestigious movies. I feel like Fargo is held in a very high standard by a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I've heard things about it. Do they not talk in weird accents throughout the full movie?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm
where's it take place? Like, Missouri or some shit like that.
yeah,
I don't even remember, but
I was kind
oh,
of
it
put
takes
off.
place in Fargo, of course.
I was kind of put off a little bit by that, but
Mm,
the concept of the film sounds cool,
yeah,
and
it's a great little mix-up, yeah.
I've always wanted to check out the TV show as well.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that's
I've heard
good,
the
yeah.
TV show is really good.
Mm,
So yeah, but I think I'll check out Fargo, and then I'll probably do Burn After Reading after that.
yeah, fair
And
enough,
I probably need to revisit Big Lebowski again. It's been a
yeah.
while.
And you gotta
Yeah,
see No Country for Old Men as well, because a lot of people really love that. And
yeah,
I'd quite like to rewatch it, to be fair, because I think
yeah.
I might enjoy it a bit more.
I just need to watch all the Coen Brothers movies, don't I?
Yeah, yeah, so do I, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want my number 4?
Let's go for it, like, yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. I'm pretty sure this is very controversial, and
Good.
a lot of people will be very disappointed in me in
Mhm.
this one. And you'll get a little sneak peek on this in an upcoming video that I've
Okay.
got. That might give you a little clue, Fergus, as to what franchise I'm about to talk about here. I've got an upcoming ranking video.
Yeah, okay.
Pierce Brosnan and Roger Moore are the best actors to play 007.
Oh, damn. Okay.
um,
Okay.
what I mean by that is Pierce Brosnan's my favorite, Roger Moore's my second favorite, and then there's just kind of everybody else.
What do you
I
mean everybody else?
I
Don't
hold
lump
those
them
two
in.
in such a high standard. I love them both kind of equally. I think
Really?
Pierce Brosnan's my favorite, but Roger Moore's so good. I adore Roger Moore so much in the role.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm a big Murph fan as well. He's my second favorite.
Yeah, yeah. If I were to rank the rest of them, I'd probably go Timothy Dalton. I really love Timothy Dalton in the role. Then Daniel Craig. Then Sean Connery. Then George Lazenby.
Damn,
Um,
man.
yeah, I know Sean Connery's very low.
What about Woody Allen?
Woody Allen can get to fuck.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what he can do.
I think a lot of people have said that, to be fair.
um, Pierce Brosnan, I genuinely think is the greatest actor to ever touch the role.
I think it would be unfair for me to say because I've only seen one film he's in, and I don't even remember which one it was.
Okay,
I can describe it to you, I think, would
go
maybe
for
help. I think in the opening, he's on a speedboat.
it. World is not enough.
Probably that one.
He's got
Yeah,
like
that'd probably be it.
a little speedboat thing that from Q Branch in that one at the very
Right.
start.
Yeah,
Um,
that's probably it then.
and he's chasing like a yacht. Is at the start of that film.
Yeah, maybe that one.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan, I think, is just excellent. I think he just embodies everything that I look for in Bond.
Mm,
I think he's just brilliant in the role. He's a very dark Bond, but still has like the kind of lightheartedness that I think the role needs.
mm,
He goes kind of so in GoldenEye, he's kind of like this kind of smooth, kind of womanizer,
as
which
we all
is
know
yeah
James
what
Bond
you
to
want
be.
from Bond. And then in Tomorrow Never Dies, he's kind of the action hero.
Mm,
And then in World Is Not Enough, he goes like very dark with his Bond.
mm,
And you see a lot more of the kind of human side to Bond
yeah.
and not the kind of masquerade that he puts up because World Is Not Enough deals with Bond like falling in love and stuff, which is something that the franchise has done a couple of times, but I think it's probably executed the best in The World Is Not Enough, for me anyway.
Mm.
And then in Die Another Day, it just kind of goes a bit batshit. I'll give people that one. That one's a bit crazy. With Bond kite surfing on a tsunami in that movie.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
But I honestly think the best bit about that movie is Brosnan. I think he's still great in the role.
Yeah. Mm,
Um, Roger Moore, I love. He's just so. I love the cheesiness. That's what I
yeah,
love about Bond. I just love how cheesy Moore is, and
yeah. Murray is really good. Yeah.
he gets away with it a bit more than I think any other actor would.
Hmm.
Like if I feel like if Daniel Craig started pulling off some of the stuff that Roger Moore does, people would be like,
Yeah.
"What the heck is happening?"
Yeah, I mean,
But
a lot of people aren't even sold in his Southern accent for Benoit Blanc.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, I love Moore, and yeah,
Mm,
I don't think apart from Lazenby's a pretty poor Bond.
mm.
I don't think I don't dislike any of the other actors. But just Pierce Brosnan and Roger Moore, it's always been that way. I've just always came out on top for me as
Mm.
being my favorite Bond, and they are typically regarded as the worst.
Is
Um,
Mur regarded as the worst?
Moore's regarded as the worst 007
Really?
by a lot of people. Yep.
That surprised me. He's like one of the more iconic ones.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Pierce Brosnan is normally kind of second worst on people's list.
I can see that because I don't think a lot of people talk about Pierce Brosnan's Bond that much,
Mhm.
but Roger Moore's like one of the most iconic ones.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
weird.
Whenever someone says think of Bond, I either think of Pierce Brosnan or Roger Moore. Like they're the two
Mm.
people that kind of come into my head.
For me, it's Sean
Um,
Connery.
that's fair.
He's my
And
favorite, but that's a very generic answer.
yeah, I totally get like why a lot of people love Connery. I
Mhm.
like Connery in the role. I think as the films go on, he slightly just gets a bit disinterested with it. Like after
Yeah,
Goldfinger, he just
yeah,
doesn't give a fuck about the
yeah. He
franchise
phones it in a
anymore.
bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Whereas Roger Moore, I feel like consistently gives it his all.
Yeah, I feel like he's convinced that he has like absolute gold. Like he's working with absolute gold. He just
Yeah,
commits
yeah,
to it.
yeah. And even in the later ones, like in A View to a Kill, when he's like mid-50s and can't do all the running around anymore,
Mm,
he's still like giving it his best shot, you
yeah,
know. Whereas
yeah,
Sean Connery is like, I'm not running that far. Why? I don't want to be here.
yeah. Moore gets an A for effort at least.
Defo. And I
Yeah.
just think Pierce Brosnan for me just embodies the role the
Mhm.
best. So yeah, I know a lot of people won't be happy with that, especially Bond
Well,
fans. I feel.
yeah. Well, I don't think you're in the wrong there, Jack. I
Okay,
think yeah.
thank you, Fergus.
I think all the Bond actors are pretty good.
Yeah,
Apart from God, I don't even remember his name, but
George Lazenby.
yeah, listen to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway.
Okay, give us
Okay.
your number 4, Fergus.
Number 4. Okay, off the top of my head, I'm gonna go with this one. Okay.
Okay.
I don't mind joke reviews on Letterboxd.
Okay,
Now,
that's interesting.
a lot of people really hate Letterboxd for being this platform where people go on to, write these, like, funny jokes about a
Mhm,
movie. I
mhm.
don't mind that. I think Letterboxd is much more of a social media platform almost than
Yep.
a review
So
platform.
yeah, do you know what? I agree
Mm,
with that. I used to be a very hard ass letterbox user where
mm,
if I didn't write a full essay, I wasn't using the app correctly.
mhm.
These days, I've lightened up a bit.
Yeah.
Like for example, I wrote for my 2001: A Space Odyssey review. I just wrote "Acid Trip" the movie,
Yeah.
and stuff like
Valid
that. Where
assessment.
thank you. um, but like especially in rewatches, I've started writing a little funny line
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
And I guess you kind of do the same because you sometimes write a bit of an essay and then sometimes write a little joke.
Sure. It depends how much I have to say about a film, really.
Yeah,
Sometimes I have too much to say about a film, so I just consolidate it into, like, a joke, or I just
yeah,
don't write anything.
yeah,
I
yeah.
sometimes don't write anything if I can't be bothered because I don't feel strongly about it.
That's fair. I try and write something about every film that I
Mm.
watch. I've been slacking a bit for people who have been looking at my letterbox. I think
I've been really disappointed in you, Jack. You've
like
let
the
me down.
films at the start of May that I've not reviewed yet on Letterboxd. But yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, if you want to follow us on Letterboxd, top
True.
link in the
Yeah,
description.
take a look.
You'll get mine and Fergus's Letterboxd accounts, where you get to read all our funny jokes that were
Yep,
just.
if you put a comment on my last review that you came from here, I'll follow you back.
Yeah, I'll do the same. I'll do the
Yeah,
same.
that'd be nice.
Um, but yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think Letterboxd. I think people should use it however they want to use it.
Yeah, I will say, there's a caveat to this, in
Hmm.
that I want the joke reviews to be funny. I don't want someone to just write, "Oh, I wanna fuck Timothy Chalamet." Like, that's what half them are,
That is
and
a lot of Letterboxd.
they are kind of annoying. But
Yeah.
if it's an actual, like, thought out joke that is actually funny, fair enough. Also, another caveat,
Hmm.
depends on the film. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna put fucking, like, "Oh, Sandra Hüller Slade" under zone of interest, like, maybe don't. Maybe reconsider that one.
Yeah. You like don't go writing joke reviews about Schindler's List or
Yeah,
anything like that.
yeah.
Like,
Context
um,
matters, but if it's like
yeah.
Barbie, write a funny review for Barbie.
Sure. Sure.
That's fine.
Yeah, 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 defo. I agree with everything you said, and I
Yeah,
do think a lot of people, and I was one of these people for a while, use Letterbox far too seriously.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do like serious reviews, and I like to read people's, like, actual thoughts on films.
Yeah.
So, I guess it would kinda be nice if there's a way to like, categorize the reviews that you could, like, look through funnier ones or look through the actual insightful ones.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
yeah.
it depends on the film.
It's handy for me because I obviously review stuff on YouTube,
Mhm.
and I basically just write my letterbox review, and then when I'm doing my video review, I just kind of read the letterbox review and
Yeah,
add in stuff as I go.
yeah.
So that's why I kind of done everything as like big, long, massive essays
Mhm.
for video's sake. But as I'm kind of progressing as a YouTuber and not reviewing like everything I watch on the channel,
Yeah,
I'm definitely more open to like doing a little jokey review here and there,
yeah.
especially for rewatches. Like
Mhm,
I'll try and do like a rewatch review in kind of a couple of sentences. I
mhm.
feel like,
Yeah, yeah, me too. I do that a lot.
yeah.
And I've been doing that for a lot of my first time watches as well, just
Mhm.
a few sentences for it, but sometimes that's all you need. I mean, it's Letterboxd, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Like I do sometimes sit there and I'm like, oh, I need to write this essay long review for this movie, and then I'm
Mhm.
like, do people actually care? Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
it's a social media platform. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not sitting here going, I need to update my status on Facebook right now.
Mhm.
So why is it like that with Letterbox? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, just
Um,
have fun with Letterboxd, I
defo,
reckon.
defo.
But also keep up the insightful reviews, of course, because I
Yes.
do like to read them as well.
Yes, definitely. Okay.
All right,
My
number
number three,
3.
Fergus, is one that we have spoke about before with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting into the very controversial territory now for opinions.
If this goes where I
Um,
think it's gonna go, then I'm not gonna be pleased about this.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of
No, no,
Azkaban
no, no, no.
is overrated and one of the weaker Harry Potter films.
No. No, man. This is incorrect. You're wrong
um,
about this, unfortunately.
no, I have got reasoning for this, Fergus. I've been thinking about
Okay.
this all day.
Okay.
I don't want anyone to think that I don't like Prisoner of Azkaban.
Okay.
I think it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not personally what I would like from a Harry Potter movie.
Okay.
I like the kind of
Slop.
what?
No, nothing. Nothing. Sorry.
I like the kind of
Crap.
childish stuff
Yeah.
at the start,
Yeah.
which is it's a lot more child friendly. I'm like, it's got a tone, it's going
Mhm.
for it. Kind of Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, even though Chamber of Secrets is a bit darker,
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of both like that. I like the darker stuff. It goes properly dark. Half Blood Prince, the Deathly Hallows movies, Order of the Phoenix are very dark movies.
Mm-hmm.
Prisoner of Azkaban is stuck in this kind of sort of weird place where it doesn't know if it's still this childish movie or if it's this really dark kind of film for teenagers.
I think it kind of makes sense to be at that point.
I get it. Like a lot of people have been like, as the characters grow up, the movies
Yeah.
slowly get darker.
Yeah.
But it just needs to pick a kind of tone and go with it. It's a little bit messy because of it. In my opinion, you've got a lot of childish stuff. Like you've got the ant blowing up at the
Yeah,
start
that's
of the
cool as
movie.
fuck.
Yeah.
That's really
Like,
funny.
then you've got the Dementors in like 2 scenes later.
Yeah.
It just needs to pick one and go with it. Like
I've
it's thrown me about on what the movie wants to be.
I think it balances the tone really well.
Nah, man.
I think
Like,
it's great at foreshadowing the kind of darkness that's coming to the series because you get a lot of moments of levity and like fun, silly capers at Hogwarts, and then the Dementors come in and that's it all gone to fuck, innit?
yeah,
I think
I
that works
guess.
for it.
I guess. I will say I like a lot of the story.
Mhm.
I like everything that's done with Sirius Black. I think that's awesome. Good twist
Yeah.
in the tale with that. But the film really loses my interest, and I think this is extremely controversial when they do the whole time travel stuff.
Yeah, I can
It
respect
just
the
it just completely like I feel like the whole scene at the when they're in the tree, I'm pretty sure. I can't really remember, but the whole scene with Sirius Black and then Lupin turns into a werewolf and
in the
all that
Shrieking
stuff.
Shack.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Shrieking Shack, that's the one. That feels like the climax
Yeah.
to the movie.
That's
And
yeah.
then it does this really weird thing where that's kind of just over the halfway point.
Yeah.
And it does like another 45 minutes in this weird time travel segment that I feel works better if you're reading it in a book than it does in a movie.
Yeah, I get that, but I think the time travel stuff is handled pretty well. Like, it's a risk going into that territory because it could get really messy very quickly, but
Mhm.
it does all make sense. I
Yeah.
think they don't really leave any plot holes with that.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't make sense. I when it happens I don't really care, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I get it. But
I'm
the
just a little
Expecto
bit
Patronum scene that comes as a result of that is really good.
that scene's awesome. That scene's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that scene. Yeah. I do love a lot of it. I love Lupin. He's one of my favorite
Yeah,
characters.
Lupin's great.
He's
And the
brilliant.
scene where like Fearless and Gary Oldman and Alan Rickman are in the Shrieking Shack is
Yeah.
really fantastic. Timothy
Yeah.
Spall as well, of course.
Yeah. Like all
That's
that stuff's really
highlight.
good. It just really loses my interest towards the end. And
Mm.
I do think the tone's a bit all over the place. And this is going to get me a lot of hate probably. I think the film's quite ugly looking.
Nah,
I'm not a massive fan of. I can't remember the director's name.
Quaron.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, Fergus. I have to admit.
Well, I think he's the best director to have done Harry Potter. I
No,
think he has so much style that he does. Like with all the visuals in this film, like there's these little transitions when it's changing season with the Whomping Willow that are really fun, and I wish we kind of got more stuff like that going forward. And
I
like he does a lot of stuff going through glass, which is cool.
I just think, look, the Harry Potter films, especially the later ones, have a lot of problems with visuals and lighting, especially.
Yes,
And I
yes,
think the problems kind of start at Prisoner of Azkaban.
yeah. But at least in Prisoner of Azkaban, you can actually see what's happening.
I guess I'm not a massive fan of some of the visuals in the movie. The Dementors look really cool. I'll give them
Yeah.
that. They look sick.
Hmm.
But like it's just little things. Like I remember the scene where I'm pretty sure they're at that. Is it the Whomping Willow? Is that the name of it? That tree that
Yeah.
moves? And I'm pretty sure they're trying to get into it, and they keep getting
Hmm.
attacked. And I'm pretty sure there's like a first person shot of somebody hanging onto the tree, and it just looks so ugly.
I don't know. I kind of like that, and
Ah.
I really like how Quaron does something different with it at least, and he brings his own style. And I'd say he has sauce. I'm gonna say David Yates sauceless. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I think the latter films have not got a ton of personality to them. If I'm being honest,
Personally, Chris Columbus is my favorite director to touch the
yeah,
franchise.
he is good.
Like I'm a much bigger fan of the kind of style in the first two movies than
Mm,
I am in the rest of the franchise.
yeah.
And especially Chamber of Secrets nails it for me in terms of the tone that I want from a Harry Potter movie.
Okay.
And that's why it's my favorite Harry Potter movie, which I guess could also be controversial.
I've got as my second favorite. So
I adore Chamber of Secrets so much. But yeah,
I'm gonna say no. This I
mm,
don't know if this is controversial. Half Blood Prince, worst one. Actually,
I don't.
no, maybe Deathly Hallows Part One. But
Yeah, I think it's normally those two that are kind of the tie up for worst
yeah,
one.
I like what they're going for, and it's a more mature story.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they look abhorrent. If you ask me, like when I watched all the Harry Potter films last year because my friend wanted to watch them, so we would watch them at the same time.
Yeah.
Uh, when we got to Half Blood Prince, I was like squinting at my screen trying to make out what was happening.
That's
It was
fair. The
yeah,
lighting is atrocious in
it's
the later films.
terrible. It's really
But
horrible.
I'm just not a fan of Alfonso Cuarón? Cuarón? How do you
Quaron.
put it? Cuarón.
But
Cuarón.
Jack,
Yeah.
you're saying that. Watch Children of Men first.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's
I do need to
Children
watch
of Men
that.
is really good. I got you a
Yeah.
Blu-ray, I think.
Yes, yes, you did. I do need to give that a
You have
go.
to get on that. I'll
But
say
yeah,
one more. I'll say one thing I hate about Prisoner of Azkaban
what?
because I've not got a lot of flaws with it as a Harry Potter movie,
Mhm.
but the final frame of the movie is probably the strangest decision I've ever seen in a film.
That's
What
what
were
I
they
mean, and it's
thinking?
ugly. It's an
It is
ugly
ugly.
film.
I don't think the whole film looks ugly, but that is the worst way they could have ended it. Like,
Yeah,
you're not helping your case for Quaron.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know why
Um,
they do it.
but yeah, there are a lot of Prisoner of Azkaban that I love. Like the whole
Yeah.
flying scene with
Mhm.
Buckbeak is awesome.
Oh, the first one.
There's some pretty scary stuff in it with the
Yeah.
Dementors. I like a lot of it, but
Aunt Marge getting blown up's pretty fun.
nah, man, I'm not behind that at all.
I love that.
Like
Pam Ferris.
I get being silly in the first one and the second one because they kind of create a silly atmosphere.
Mm.
But in the third one, it's like, here's the same silly atmosphere, and now we're going to go really, really dark on your ass, and then we'll get a
Well,
little bit sillier again, and then it's
I
just
think it
throwing
makes
me all
sense
over
to
the
do that
place.
because
Nah, it
we're
doesn't.
trying to be silly and trying to find light in the dark.
Nah, pick a tone and go with it. In my
Well, they
opinion,
do later on, so this
yeah.
is like they're trying to still enjoy themselves before the dark arts really take over.
Sure.
In my view.
Okay, Fergus, give us your number 3 because we are really running out of
Yeah, we
time.
are running out of time.
We're
Maybe we should do like
yapping
our
a lot.
top ones next week.
No, no, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay. I'll make this brief then. I don't like Blade Runner.
Oh
Sean.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you already know this, Jack.
We've talked about this a couple of times in the podcast so far.
Possibly, yeah.
I really enjoy Blade Runner. I think it's a great
Yeah.
movie. The visuals, Fergus,
I don't know if I've ever explained why I don't like Blade Runner.
go for
I
it.
love the visuals of this film. I think it looks incredible. I
Mhm.
really want to get the film vault of it.
Yeah, good
Although
luck.
you got me the Blu-ray though, so
Yep, yep.
very
Good
nice.
luck getting the film vault for a good price.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've got steelbooks coming out.
Yeah, they probably do. They're
Yeah.
always releasing Blade Runner, like
Mm,
constantly.
yeah. Um yeah, I love it visually. It looks fantastic. And the sound design is really good as well. I just
Mhm.
think the story is really weak sauce, to be honest.
That's fair.
Really struggle to get invested in what's happening.
I kind of get that. Like,
Mm,
as someone who likes the movie, I think the story is probably the weakest aspect
yeah.
of it. I do enjoy it. I do get quite a bit out of it. I do love the ending.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I think
which
the one I watched was different, wasn't it?
you got the whole happy scene in the car at the end, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not how the movie ends, Fergus.
I will check out the
It's
different
a
ending.
much darker and realistic ending in the final cut, which I
Mm,
like. Um, but yeah, there's so many cuts for Blade Runner. I think it's the movie. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's the movie with the most cuts ever.
really?
Yep, I think there's like at least over 20 cuts of the film.
Maybe there's
There's
one
so
decent
many.
one out there.
But yeah, I love the visuals. I do really enjoy Blade Runner. I haven't seen 2049 yet.
Well, I'm gonna say this: 2049 is far superior. Like, not even on the same level, really, for me. I
Yeah.
love 2049. Although I feel like I have a lot of the same issues with it. Like, I don't think the story's fantastic or anything. I don't think the characters are out of this world, but just it does something for me that
Okay.
the
Sure.
first one didn't.
That makes
It's,
sense.
everything's improved, I think, except maybe the visuals, because 2049 looks fantastic, but the original has a kind of timeless feel to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I
It could
feel,
be. Yeah, it could be set anywhere in the future, kind of
yeah,
thing.
and it'll always look really impressive. I'd love to see the original in the cinema, just
Oh
to see
yeah,
them visuals on a huge screen.
that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. It's definitely a film that I want to rewatch because I was lucky enough to get my hands on a Film Vault version of it.
Very nice.
So I definitely want to check it out in beautiful 4K quality.
Oh yes.
But yeah, I do enjoy myself a little bit of Blade Runner.
That's
I
fair
might
enough.
do,
I see why people like it.
I might do a Blade Runner and 2049 double bill one day because I've got both 4Ks, so that'd be fun.
If you done a video on that, I would watch it.
I
I'd
might.
give it a little like.
That's actually not a bad idea for a video.
Thank you,
Just
thank you.
write that one down.
Yeah, I'll accept credit, of course.
Yeah, obviously. I don't need to pay you, do I?
We can discuss that later.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
let's move on to your number two then.
okay. My number two, my runner-up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Out of all of them, and I think my number one is probably the most controversial. I know for a fact it's the most controversial, and you
Mm-hmm.
probably know what it is. But
Mm-hmm.
my number two, I think, could possibly get me the most confused comments.
Okay.
Like, why do you like this, Jack? Like, what is wrong with your brain?
Okay.
I enjoy Mrs. Brown's Boys.
I knew it. I knew this was gonna come up. I was actually there's gonna be. Well, I didn't think you'd have the balls to admit this. I had in
Yep,
my head that there was gonna be a bit at the end where I'd be like, "Oh, Jack, why don't you tell everyone about your love for Mrs. Brown's Boys, or we can save that for part two or some shit like that."
yep. I've done
You've
it,
got balls
Fergus.
though. You've got some balls.
Right. To be fair, it's lost its way now. The show's pretty shit now.
Yeah.
In its prime, I'd argue that Mrs. Brown's Boys is one of the funniest shows on television. In its absolute prime.
Be
Like
real, Jack. Come on.
series one, series two, series three kind of time, the early Christmas specials are all hysterical. They are funny. They are harmless. It's just great. I love it. It's clever
Uh,
writing. A lot of people seem to think it's just swear words in a show. No, there are actual jokes there that are funny. It's just good. It's really good.
This is really like I've not got a lot of exposure to Mrs. Brown's, but from the episodes that I've caught of this show, it's not it's not my scene at all. No, I'm sorry, Jack. I can't agree with you on this.
If you want an episode to check out, and it's my
Mhm.
personal favorite episode of the show, series 1, episode 4, I think encapsulates everything about what I like about Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Okay, I'll definitely watch that. I'll totally watch it. No,
um,
I don't know what it is about Mrs. Brown's Boys, but I find Mrs. Brown herself to be quite insufferable, I think.
she's a bitch, but
Yeah.
she's meant to be. Well, that's the point, I
Uh,
guess you could say. Like that's
I
what's
yeah.
so likable about her is the
I
fact that she's at that age where she doesn't really give a shit what she thinks anymore.
I
You know
think
what I
all
mean?
the characters seem quite unlikable though.
Oh no, you've got some really like
Oh, no, wait.
Buster,
I quite liked Mrs. Brown's pal. She was
Winnie.
Yeah, Winnie, yeah, she
Yeah,
was quite charming.
Buster's
She
fun.
won my heart.
Dermot's a lot of fun. Like there's some really great characters in the show.
Maybe.
Rory, the gay son, he's really funny.
Okay. I can't tell you who any of these people are, but yeah, no, I've never really found it that funny. I've never found myself laughing along to Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Yeah.
Although I know there was a fan favorite, the movie,
Yep.
which I know a lot of people adore, and
Yep.
is celebrated like the Harry Hill movie and the Keith Lemon movie.
The Keith Lemon movie, bro.
Mhm. It's
Flashbacks, Vietnam
weird weird
flashbacks.
era of filmmaking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Making these strange films.
I don't like the Mrs. Brown's Boys movie. I don't hate it as much as
Yeah,
Ghost,
there's
but
Yellowface, am I right? Okay, here's what I've heard about the Mrs. Brown's Boys movie. Mrs. Brown has like a market stall or something,
yes, yes,
and she's like fighting to keep it open,
yep.
and some ninjas appear. Is what I've heard of the Mrs.
Oh,
Brown's Boys movie.
blind ninjas,
Yeah,
yeah,
blind ninja.
and
Is that like what a typical episode of a show's like?
no,
Okay,
no. The show's very much more low budget, I guess. Like
sure.
there's only 3 sets in the show. There's the kitchen, the living room, and the pub.
Mhm.
That's it. And it just does wonders with making things not boring, even though it's only got 3 sets. The
Okay.
movie went too big.
The movie.
The movie went too big for its own boots, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
Russian gangsters in the movie hunting Mrs. Brown down.
Mrs.
Like
Brown's
it's
stall. Oh,
yeah.
what a shame for her. Like, let her sell. What's she even selling? Actually.
And fruit and veg.
Okay.
And another thing that I like about the show, and I know this could put people off,
Mm-hmm.
but I love the fact that they keep the bloopers in.
Mm.
I like they'll muck up a line and they'll just kind of laugh about it and then they'll carry on.
Mm.
It's the same kind of thing that you get from like I don't know. I'm not a fan of SNL, but like SNL or like It'll Be All Right on the Night kind of
Sure.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I enjoy. I like that. It's kind of unique to that show. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that still does it, at least on British television.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I like Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Yeah. It's
And
fair enough. Like
so many people hate it. I know so many people hate it. But I find it funny.
I think there's an audience for Mrs. Brown's Boys. I'm not part of it, but I think there is one, and it's
Yeah,
like it's in. Well, I mean, some of it's a bit like crass and offensive, like comedy, but at the end of the day, it's pretty inoffensive, really. When you've got
yeah,
like, there's a lot worse stuff on TV. I think like Love Island is
yeah,
like actually like probably harmful. I think
yeah,
in that it promotes like
definitely.
cheating on your partner and all this shit,
Yeah,
and
and
it's so fake.
as I said, it's lost its way now.
Yeah.
Definitely. It basically what they do now is they do 2 episodes a year. They do a Christmas special and a New Year special,
Mm.
kind of every year. and they're just so rinse and repeat. It's almost like Brendan O'Carroll these days just types it into like an AI, write me a
Mm,
Mrs. Brown's Boys episode, and
mm.
goes, that'll do.
I suppose he
They
makes
brought,
enough money off it though, doesn't he?
oh yeah, he's loaded. He lives in Florida, mate.
Mm.
He's loaded.
That'd be funny
Um,
if you seen Mrs. Brown at Disneyland.
yeah, that would be weird. But yeah, they done like a little mini series of it, series 4, I guess you could say, which was better than a
Mm.
lot of the most recent stuff's been. But yeah, it's lost its way a bit now.
Okay. I will
Um,
say one thing that I like about Mrs. Brown's Boys, which is not anything to do with Mrs. Brown's Boys, was for Inside Number 9, I was listening to the podcast that the creators do, and they were
Mhm.
going to do this live Halloween episode where it would go wrong, and they'd cut to an episode of Mrs. Brown's Boys, which was also fake, and then
Okay.
a ghost would come in and cut off Mrs. Brown's head live on TV.
That's funny. I like
No,
that.
they never done that, but I really
Aw.
wish they had.
They probably asked Brendan O'Carroll, and he was like, "No."
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, Fergus, do you want to give us your number 2?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Longtime Popcorn Podcast fans know I'm a Wes Anderson fan.
Mhm,
I watched all his films last year, and I've
mhm.
got a little spicy take, and I
Yep.
think some people might not enjoy this one, but
Mhm.
I think, and my ranking on Letterboxd currently would tell you different, but I do need to update it
Okay.
because it's been months. I think Moonrise Kingdom is my least favorite Wes Anderson film.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got no opinion on this.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess so. A lot of people would say Bottle Rocket is his worst one
yep.
because it's a very standard story, and I understand that. But it almost doesn't even feel like a Wes Anderson film. Like when his
Sure.
name pops up in credits, it's like an actual jump scare almost. But yeah, I don't know. Moonrise Kingdom is fine, but it comes at a point where like there's been so much other Wes Anderson films, and the
Yeah.
characters don't feel like characters I haven't seen before in a Wes Anderson film.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
It's probably the one I've heard the least about.
mm,
Moonrise. I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. Like I
well,
couldn't tell you.
it's about like a Boy Scout and he finds love during summer or whatever,
Okay.
and it's fine. There's not much of a plot to it, but it is quite a nice little summer film, I guess,
Mhm,
about childhood love
mhm.
during the summer holidays. And yeah, I mean, it's got a good cast behind it. Bruce Willis, isn't it? It's his only Wes Anderson film, I believe.
That's cool.
And he's
Yeah.
really good in it. He's probably my favorite.
Yep.
Francis McDormand. Bill Murray's in it, but like, Bill Murray's in every Wes Anderson film.
Yeah.
And it's like, by the time I've seen him in Moonrise Kingdom, I've seen his character before.
Is Owen Wilson in it?
Maybe? I actually don't know if he is.
He's like in every Wes Anderson
Yeah,
movie.
I don't remember him being in it, but he probably is.
Sure.
Edward Norton is in it. Jason Schwartzman's really good in it, but he's only in
Okay.
it for a couple minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I always find myself talking about the cast when I think about Wes Anderson, but
Yeah. His
that's
casts
the
are always
go-to.
really good. To be
Yeah.
fair, like, they're always brilliant.
I guess just in terms of narrative with Moonrise Kingdom, it's not very engaging to me. Like
Mhm.
even Bottle Rocket, which people would say is his worst. There's an engaging narrative, I think. I was pretty engaged with it. But Moonrise Kingdom, not much is happening until the end, which is fine. I
Yep.
like movies like that a lot, but just it doesn't stick out to me really. It's not one I felt like I wanted to rewatch after I finished it.
That's fair. I mean, I don't really. I'm not a big Wes Anderson. Like I was going to say, a big Wes Anderson fan. I do like Wes Anderson, but
Mm,
he's not a director. I've checked out a lot of his. I've not seen a lot of his stuff.
mhm.
I've only seen 3 Wes Anderson films,
Yeah.
and I will watch the rest of his filmography because he's a director that definitely interests me. But
Mhm.
in terms of what I don't know a lot about what people think of his movies, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Like I don't
Yeah.
know what ones are considered great and what ones are just considered less great.
I think Bottle Rocket's the only one people say are bad. Is
Okay.
bad, but I watched that and I actually quite enjoyed it.
I think I've
I
got Bottle Rocket on Criterion.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah, you
picking it
probably
up.
do, yeah.
Yeah. So it might be one I'll check out soon, seeing as I've
Yeah,
got it.
I think you'd like it because it's not hugely like it's Wes Anderson. It's like a normal film.
Sure.
It's not like everything's really symmetrical and all this. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Asteroid City.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, I might need to check it out. I'm going to check out all his films because
Yeah.
he's one of the best. He's considered to be one of the best directors. So I need to see all his stuff.
You gotta do Royal Tenenbaums next.
Yeah, I've heard that's really who's in that?
Gene Hackman.
Okay.
Ben Stiller.
Ben
Gwyneth
Stiller.
Paltrow.
Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
that's the one I was thinking of.
He's really good in it, surprisingly.
Yeah. I've typically heard that the French Dispatch is his worst.
Yeah, that's what I've always kind of thought. But recently I've switched up on Moonrise Kingdom because it's the film I remember the least from.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, I can remember what happens in the French Dispatch at least.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing really stood out to me in Moonrise Kingdom. But I still enjoy it.
That's
and
fair.
it's got nice summer vibes, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like nothing. It when I watched it, wasn't like I've never seen a film like this before.
Yeah. No, I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
My number one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what's coming here, Fergus?
Well, I thought it was going to be a Fight Club one, but you said before the podcast that it's not going to be Fight Club.
It's not going to be Fight Club. If you know me, you'll know this is my opinion. The Star Wars sequels are good, and Disney buying Lucasfilm was a positive thing for the franchise.
No,
is my number one most controversial.
Oh
thing.
No! Oh dear Lord, Jack, what have you done?
So, I love The Force Awakens. I think The Force Awakens is a fantastic film. I absolutely adore it. One of the best legacy sequels ever. I enjoy The Last Jedi. It's definitely the one I've got the most issues with. But I like a lot of the stuff that it does. Rian Johnson takes it in a very unique direction, and I think that should kind of be praised. I really enjoy The Rise of Skywalker. I think it doesn't necessarily work as a conclusion. It's kind of a dissatisfying conclusion, but in terms of a Star Wars movie, I think it's excellently done. Love Rogue One. I think Rogue One's excellent.
Yeah,
and
Rogue One is good.
I enjoy Solo.
Solo's good. Yeah.
So I've enjoyed every Disney Star Wars movie, at least to a certain extent.
You know what? I don't think any of them are bad movies, except The Rise of Skywalker, which, I mean, everyone says it, but I do think it's the worst one by a landslide. But
yeah, I really love The Rise of Skywalker. It's such a fun, fast-paced sci-fi. It's so good. I love it.
I think what we'll do, right? Because I feel like if we come back to discussing Star Wars every week on here, we need to do its own episode, and that'll just be it. We don't need to talk about it anymore. But I can see why you like the Star Wars sequels. And to be fair, I've said this before. I've gone on record saying this. I think they're like more consistent than the prequels are, at least. Because I hate the prequels except for the third one.
Yep.
I like one of them. I like Force Awakens and Last Jedi decently. So that's more consistent already.
Yep. That's fair. I will say, just in case people don't know my Star Wars opinions, the original trilogy is my favorite before people start thinking.
Yeah.
I like the sequels more. I adore all three. I've got all three of the original films at 5 stars. I just love them. The prequels, I'm not a massive episode 1 or 2 fan, but I still think they're decent movies. Episode 3, I love.
Yeah,
and then obviously the sequels I've just gave my opinions on. In terms of other Disney Star Wars properties, I really love Mandalorian season 1 and 2. Season 3 lost its way a bit, sadly, but seasons 1 and 2 are great. Obi-Wan
Kenobi's not the way.
Yeah, that season 3 is not the way.
No, I've not watched Mandalorian, but I know that one.
Yeah,
it's a Fortnite emote.
Yeah, no. So stop bringing everything back to Fortnite. You're ruining my favorite things.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah, correction for last week when it was between the Karate Kid and Rocky, and I said Karate Kid has more impact on Fortnite. Our friend Mark recently corrected me on this. Creed is in Fortnite,
Yeah,
so
that's sad
actually
times.
Rocky has had more impact on Fortnite.
Sad
Really,
times, sad times. I loved Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought that was a great show. And I've not seen Andor or Ahsoka yet, but I've heard good things.
I've not
And
seen any of these shows. Not one.
the Acolyte just
Oh,
aired,
yeah.
which I've heard is bad, but I might enjoy it, seeing as
I've heard it's alright. I've actually not heard a single complaint about the Acolyte apart from it's got fire in space, which who gives a shit? It's Star Wars. And like, oh, there's no straight white man in it. Like, who cares? You know? Like
Yeah,
that's the only complaints I've heard about it so far.
yeah, yeah. That's all I can really say. I just think Disney buying Lucasfilm was a good way to continue on the films and bring them a whole new generation.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if George Lucas kept Lucasfilm, he was going to run out of steam eventually, and then the franchise would be dead.
Yeah. But on the other hand, is milking it good?
It's not milking it if they're consistently good.
Mm, but they're not. What about Book of Boba Fett? Do you enjoy that?
That was good. Yeah,
I didn't hear good things about that.
I didn't love it, but I thought it was decent.
Okay. I didn't hear much good about Obi-Wan either.
Obi-Wan's great. Ignore
That's not
anyone that says
what
other
I
things.
heard.
Obi-Wan's amazing.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'll have to take your word on it because I'm not watching anytime soon. But
You should watch it. It's
I
really
would
good.
watch The Mandalorian though, because I watched a couple episodes of that and I actually quite liked it, but I didn't finish
I
it
will
for some
say
reason.
season 2 of The Mandalorian, I think, is the best thing Disney's done
Okay.
for Star Wars.
Okay.
Season 2 of The Mandalorian's perfect. Like 10 out of 10. So good.
Yeah, I'll probably watch The Mandalorian at some point. I'm not excited to
should.
watch season 3. Don't know if I will,
It's bad.
but
It's bad.
yeah, first two I will watch at some
Sure.
point.
Okay. Fergus, give us your number 1.
So, okay, I've put this as my most controversial take, and I don't think it is, on
Okay.
reflection. I
Okay.
think only a handful of people would find this to be a controversial take.
Okay.
But, okay, so last week I told you that Beauty and the Beast live action is my least favorite film of all time.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I think the worst film of all time is?
What?
2003's The Cat in the Hat. I despise this movie, and I think a lot of people don't love it, right? But a lot of people really do. And even if people don't love it, they wouldn't say it's the worst movie ever made. I
Mhm.
would, Jack. I would tell you this is the worst thing that's ever been made because I hate Beauty and the Beast 2017 because it's like soulless corporate slop, right?
Uh-huh.
What even is The Cat in the Hat meant to be? What's going on with that?
Do you know who's in Cat in the Hat, Fergus?
Mike Myers, Alec Baldwin,
No.
Dakota Fanning.
Eric Baldwin.
Who?
Eric Baldwin.
Who?
Bro, Team America quote.
Oh, I see.
Come on, you're meant to be a fan of that movie, Fergus.
I liked it. I didn't like when they fucked. Anyway, yeah, no, The Cat in the Hat 2003. I actually wrote in like S3 English
Uh-huh.
about how shit it was and compared it to
Love
the
that.
book. Because I've never even liked it. Like even as a kid. I've
Yeah.
always thought, you know, I said Step Brothers gave me a headache.
Yeah.
The Cat in the Hat gives me a migraine. It's like the ugliest movie I've ever seen in my life.
do you know the only bit I've ever seen in Cat in the Hat is
What?
when Mike Myers is standing there with a hole and he just goes, dirty hole, and then like sniggers at the camera.
I know, and that could be funny, right? But why is he doing this in The Cat in the Hat? Like, The Cat in the Hat is meant to be a fun, lovable, but slightly irresponsible creature. And this
Yeah.
is Hellspawn. He like they heard irresponsible and like, oh, he's broken out of a local psych ward and is stalking his next young victims.
Yeah, it looks like such an odd film.
Yeah, it's terrible. The only redeeming factor of the film is Mrs. Kwan, who you've probably seen is like the Asian like childminder, like a babysitter, and then they like knock her out and then hang her up by a coat hanger and put her in the cupboard, and then ride her as a log flume later on.
didn't know where you were going with that.
Well, I mean, it's a Cat in the Hat. You could do anything, right? But
True, true.
yeah,
Is
no,
Mike Myers good in it?
no.
Is he
I
bad?
like Mike Myers. Like I watched Wayne's World recently, and that was really funny.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't know if I told you what I thought of Wayne's World because you recommended it. I thought it was really
yeah.
good.
It's a great movie.
But
It's so good.
yeah, the Cat in the Hat is not it, I'm afraid.
You should
Uh,
watch Wayne's World too. It's good too.
okay, I'll give it a shot.
It's a lot of
But
fun.
I'm not gonna recommend the Cat. So you've not seen it?
No.
Damn. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about a strange scene that happens, Jack, that I think should sum up why
Okay.
I detest this film. So the Cat in the Hat is going somewhere. I don't remember. But they're sneaking about, and he
Yep.
goes through his kid's birthday party.
Uh-huh.
The kid's blindfolded because he's doing the pinata,
Mhm.
and he hits the Cat in the Hat in the balls. And do you know what happens when this happens, Jack?
What happens, Fergus?
The Cat in the Hat appears to have an orgasm after being hit in the balls by a child. It cuts to him on a swing with like whimsical music playing in slow motion with like Vaseline smeared all over the camera.
Great. This sounds amazing. I'll be checking this
Yeah.
out ASAP.
Yeah. Whenever I see a clip of it on like TikTok, I look in the comments and people are like, "Oh, I love this film. This is my favorite film. I loved this as a kid." And I'm like, "How? How did you enjoy this? This is nightmare fuel." Like
Yeah,
I don't
I
love
think
The
a lot of
Grinch,
yeah,
but
I was gonna say I think a lot of the Dr. Seuss films are kind of considered bad.
yeah. I don't
It's a style that just doesn't translate to film, I don't
for
think.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. The
Yeah.
book is timeless and charming and has a great message at its heart, but
Mhm.
the movie just butchers it, I think. Like,
Yeah.
it's fundamentally about the same thing, but it goes about it in a really disgusting way, I think. At one point in the Cat in the Hat's disguised as a Rastafarian. Uh,
That sounds wonderful, Fergus. That
at
doesn't
one
sound problematic at all.
no, you get to see the Cat in the Hat's arse crack at one point. Yeah, it's a great film, honestly. Love the Cat in the Hat so
You're
much.
really selling this to me, Fergus.
Honestly, like, I don't know, maybe if we were drunk, we could probably watch it,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that'd be
no,
fun.
don't watch The Cat in the Hat, please.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Oh,
also, one more thing.
yep.
Thing 1 and Thing 2 are the most reprehensible looking creatures I've seen in my life, like, actual nightmare fuel.
I feel like I need to watch this now just to see what the
You
whole fuss is about.
you don't.
I think I will. I'll get the Blu-ray.
Don't bother, no.
I'll buy the Blu-ray. I'll go buy it right now.
Okay, on you go, Jack. Waste your money.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's my hot take. Don't know if it's a hot take, but a lot of people seem to love it, so there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. That's fair. Yeah, my Star Wars one was like my biggie. Because
Yeah.
everyone hates the sequel so
Yeah.
much.
Unfairly, perhaps, but
but
yeah.
if you're still stuck around for 2 hours and
Oh
48
god,
minutes,
this is our longest one yet.
it's the longest one
I
yet.
knew we should have
Thank
only
you.
done like 7.
Thank you for watching /
Yeah.
listening
Thanks
this
for not
episode.
like leaving after a first hot take.
Yes, I mean it means a lot.
Yeah.
Let us know down in the comments what your biggest hot take is,
Yep.
and also let us know what you think of our hot takes.
Yep. Any you
Um,
like, agree with, hate,
Yep.
let us know.
Be good to get a conversation going in the comments.
Yeah.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, all that jazz.
Jack,
And what?
what are we doing next week?
Oh,
You know.
yes, I do know. I do know.
What can you give us a hint or like tell us what we're doing? Is it a discussion or a game?
Yes, it's a discussion.
Okay.
We won't be talking about film. We might be talking a little bit about TV.
Oh, this is interesting because that's what I
Fergus.
had planned for the next time it was my choice.
Oh,
That's
well,
okay. Well,
too late.
okay. I guess you can tell me after we finish here then.
Yep.
But
No,
that'll be a little cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that for the people listening.
Okay.
So thank you everyone for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, all that jazz.
Jazz.
And we'll see
See
you
you in the next
in the next
one.
one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.